Due to Li Chunsheng being late, the Senate's meeting in Hefeng was delayed by 2 hours. Due to Li Chunsheng being late, the Senate's meeting in Hefeng was delayed by 2 hours. Niu Jingman was planning on kicking Chunsheng out of the game. How could he be absent? He wished to see Chunsheng's despair with his own eyes. He liked the feeling of crushing his opponents beneath his feet. As soon as Chunsheng arrived, Niu Jingman got some news. He sneered and said to the secretary, "Start the meeting." Most of the Senate's meetings were started by Niu Jingman. As for the head secretary, Qian Fenghan, he was just for show. He had 1 year left until retirement with no hopes of getting any promotion. Hence, at every meeting, Qian Fenghan's attitude was rather ambiguous. Most people had expected this anyway. By the time Chunsheng had arrived, almost everyone was already there except for him. Mayor Li is really busy. Luckily, we're all free, so we have time to wait for Mayor Li. As soon as Chunsheng appeared, Chang Yao's voice sounded. But no one in the Senate said anything, since they knew that Chunsheng might possibly leave before even having had the time to warm the mayor's seat. At this moment, it wasn't smart to offend someone who was about to leave. Chunsheng wasn't old. Who knew if he could climb back up again? Niu Jingman glanced at Chunsheng once before opening. "This meeting shall be conducted by me. Jiang Ping make the records dash." No one ever objected. So Niu Jingman was very domineering. Yet today, as soon as he said this, Qian Fenghan said slowly, "I will conduct the meeting today. Mayor Niu has been quite fatigued lately." This was a very abnormal thing to happen in Hefeng. Ever since Qian Fenghan had come there, he had never done anything domineering nor prepared his own faction. Qian Fenghan was like an old man ready to enter his grave. He had spent half a year telling people that he was just waiting to die. For someone like this who was about to retire, it was unexpected for everyone that he chose to conduct the meeting today. What was going on today? Was this his last shine or something? Even Chunsheng didn't understand this. Was Qian Fenghan on the same side as Niu Jingman? Niu Jingman immediately felt insulted. He had been very domineering, yet today, Qian Fenghan took away his power without any premonition. He thought that even if the old fart wanted to do this, he could have told him earlier. He couldn't just slap his face like that. Everyone at the scene fell into silence. They had all intended to see how Chunsheng would be leaving, yet now, it had become a fight between Qian Fenghan and Niu Jingman. After getting angry, Niu Jingman clenched his fist, thinking, "Even if you're going to retire, I won't back down for something like this. Otherwise, when you leave, how will I perform my job at Hefeng? I require absolute compliance." "Secretary Qian, you're quite old now, and it's not easy conducting a meeting, being rather complicated. How about you point out what you have problems with after the meeting?" Niu Jingman said with a smile. Chunsheng didn't expect Qian Fenghan would be making this move right when he was about to fight Niu Jingman. Qian Fenghan didn't seem to comprehend the underlying meaning of Niu Jingman's words and continued to talk slowly. "I'm the head secretary for this city. Are there really that many problems? The citizens gave us all of our jobs. Since they did it this way, that must mean that I will suffice. Although Mayor Niu is very capable, your eyes aren't as bright as the citizens." Niu Jingman's anger dissipated, and he immediately became alarmed. Would a secretary who was about to retire use this kind of sharp language? What did this mean? Not only Niu Jingman, everyone else shivered too. What did those words mean? Everyone knew what Niu Jingman was doing, but no one ever dared to say a thing. They all realized just now that they'd underestimated this old man. He was actually a level or two higher than everyone at the scene. "I support Secretary Qian Fenghan conducting this meeting." Chunsheng was the first to react. He suspected that something was off. As soon as he was going to bring down Niu Jingman, Qian Fenghan wanted to conduct the meeting. This was too coincidental. Niu Jingman had a really bad feeling. He felt like Chunsheng was quite peculiar today. He knew Chunsheng very well. Chunsheng usually kept a low profile, and he understood that that was because he hadn't stabilized his position yet. Why was he suddenly supporting Qian Fenghan, and what did that mean? Thinking about this, Niu Jingman smiled. "Haha, since old Qian isn't afraid of fatigue, then I'll take a short break. This is the content I had prepared to discuss in the meeting." Niu Jingman handed his documents over to Qian Fenghan. Just because he had been taken by surprise didn't mean that he wasn't going to do what he had been planning to do. He would need to spend some time studying this Qian Fenghan after this meeting, though. Qin Fanghan didn't even look at Niu Jingman and said, "I've been busy with work lately, so I haven't been really impactful in this Senate." Qin Fanghan didn't take the documents Niu Jingman handed him and instead said, "We will be discussing 3 things this meeting. Firstly, about Luo Yu investing in Hefeng and the recent news of their scandal. As for the second topic, Niu Jingman was taken by surprise yet again. He had only been planning to discuss 2 things this meeting. The first was about Li Chunxing mistakenly bringing in Luo Yu too, but how come there were 3 things now?" Qin Fanghan didn't mind Niu Jingman's uncertain expression. He just said, "As for the second thing, I will talk about it after we finish with the first. I'm very happy that as soon as Li Chunxing came to Hefeng, he brought over Luo Yu's investment to Shitong. I believe everyone knows the power of Luo Yu. Because of this, we can all see the ambition and capability of Mayor Li." Qin Fanghan didn't mind Niu Jingman's uncertain expression. He just said, "As for the second thing, I will talk about it after we finish with the first. I'm very happy that as soon as Li Chunxing came to Hefeng, he brought over Luo Yu's investment to Shitong. I believe everyone knows the power of Luo Yu. Because of this, we can all see the ambition and capability of Mayor Li." Everyone was shocked, and so was Li Chunxing. What was this? Was he helping Li Chunxing? If Luo Yu had been doing well, then he would be thankful, but Luo Yu was in trouble because of their recent scandal. Why was he helping? Niu Jingman coughed. He knew that he had to speak before Qin Fanghan could finish his second sentence. He said, "I was also very happy that Mayor Li brought in the Luo Yu Corporation, but I'm worried now. We don't know who they are. They rose up in one night all over the world. This is very suspicious. I was planning on fully investigating who they were first and then bring them in, but Mayor Li did so without any precautions. He lacks the precaution that a government worker should have. If Luo Yu was clean, it would be fine, but it has brought trouble to the citizens of Hefeng. There have been 6 cases of death and 4 cases of facial destruction. This was all because they used the Luo Yu beauty pill. There has been 2 cases in Hefeng. I'm very heartbroken that this occurred. These heartless merchants are like a disease for our country. But our government officials don't stop them. Instead, they open their doors to them. My heart aches when I see these people. The country put you here for you to create a peaceful and harmonious place for the people, not for you to warm the bed for these pests. Although I'm just a mayor, I will not allow this." Niu Jingman sat down with satisfaction. He had to just wait for the words of other people in the meeting, and then he would gradually put the blame on Li Chunxing. He had arranged the families of those who had been damaged to come there and protest. Li Chunxing had no way to deal with it. The only solution would be to leave Hefeng. Clap, clap, many members, even Qin Fanghan, clapped. "Mayor Niu, good speech. We will not allow these pests into Hefeng. We are the government officials of the people. If we sell the people out for some profits, how are we different from animals?" Wei Chang said this with a face of righteousness. With this, a few more members showed their support for Mayor Niu, but Niu Jingman's confidence disappeared from his expression when he saw that there were only 5 out of the 10 people there on his side. It wasn't normal. He usually got more than 8 votes. What was going on today? Qin Fanghan smiled and said, "Mayor Niu is correct. A government official that doesn't work for the people should go back home and live like the rat he is. Mayor Li, do you have anything to say?" Hearing this, Li Chunxing smiled. He was quite sure that Qin Fanghan wasn't just a puppet. If he didn't do anything, that person was going to do something sooner or later. Li Chunxing stood up and said, "Before I say anything, I will play a short recording." Although the reason Xiao Lei had come was because she wanted to eat with Yemo and even go out and play, after hearing this, she knew that this piece of news was an opportunity that would mean a lot to her and her channel. The dinner had to be postponed. The priority was to get her channel to send people over. She trusted Yemo. If he said Mayor Li would agree to an interview, then he would. Yemo didn't have time to eat with her anyway. He needed to go check out the Yuan family. Although he had done his job, if the Yuan family found out something and suddenly ran away, it would be hard for him to find them. In Guilin, the press conference started at 11 a.m. on the dot. Despite having to come on short notice, there were still hundreds of journalists there. Most of them came from Beijing. Everyone, I believe that because of Luo Yu's influence, everyone is aware of happened yesterday. Although our Luo Yu won't dare talk about how noble we are, everyone has seen our contribution to the people of this world. But some people are jealous. They have used all sorts of means to harm and undermine our corporation, Yu Miaodong said with ease. CEO Yu, do you mean that the scandal with the beauty and health pill was due to Luo Yu being framed? Reporter asked. Yu Miaodong smiled and said with confidence, indeed, that is what I mean. No one expected Yu Miaodong to reply like that. It was such a domineering answer. This journalist was shocked. If he had known that Yu Miaodong would say this, he would have asked the next question already. Who was behind all of this? But his confusion made him lose the opportunity. A busty reporter in her 30s stood up. CEO Yu, according to what I know, your company's product has caused the death of 6 people and ruined the face of 4 others. The figure seems to be increasing. Are you trying to put the responsibility on someone else? Yu Miaodong glared at the reporter and said plainly, the reason our company can produce the beauty pill and health pill is because it has the power to deal with anything. We would never put the blame on others. I see that your skin is soft. I really want to know, do you naturally have such good skin, or did you use our beauty pill? If you did, then may I ask, why didn't you die nor is your face ruined? Yu Miaodong's incisive reply made everyone laugh. The reporter's face turned red. She raised her voice and asked, CEO Yu, if everyone who used your product had those side effects, then this world would be a chaos. Furthermore, who knows when the symptoms might occur? Even cancer has a dormant stage. Still, I was asking if CEO Yu was putting the blame on someone else. Why are you avoiding this question? Or are you going to tell us who is framing your company? The reporter replied even more harshly. Does this mean you're suspecting that our medicine is faulty? Yu Miaodong asked. Yu Miaodong said with a strange expression, may I ask when you knew about this? Which channel are you from? Us, journalists, need to be constantly wary about people. Yesterday, Luo Yu got exposed and I heard about it. You don't need to ask me which channel I'm from. I can honestly tell you that I'm the Hefeng Night News reporter Lu Tsueyang. I'm not scared of your revenge. Her tone was very agitated, as though Luo Yu was going to take revenge of her. Yu Miaodong also smiled sardonically. Journalist Lu Tsueyang, since you've known since yesterday that our beauty pill is problematic, why did you take one this morning? You nonsense. I didn't dash. Lu Tsueyang's face was completely red. Yu Miaodong said coldly, I'm the CEO of the beauty pill production. How can I not know about my product? After taking the beauty pill, within 6 hours, there should be a faint redness on the skin around the neck. It increases a woman's attractiveness. It is very obvious on you. And it's obvious that it has been less than 4 hours. If you don't believe me, we can test it now. Immediately, everyone looked at Lu Tsueyang. Her face turned red, but she couldn't say a word. Yu Miaodong sneered. You can't answer? Of course you can't answer, because you're just a pawn on the Yuan family's paycheck, and then you keep proclaiming about how you care about the people. I think what you care about is how much money goes into your account. As long as it gets you money, I don't think there's anything you wouldn't do. Yu Miaodong sneered. You can't answer? Of course you can't answer, because you're just a pawn on the Yuan family's paycheck, and then you keep proclaiming about how you care about the people. I think what you care about is how much money goes into your account. As long as it gets you money, I don't think there's anything you wouldn't do. I will sue you for defamation. Lu Tsueyang's face was looking worse and worse. Yu Miaodong said in contempt, do as you wish. Not only am I defaming you, I'm also hereby defaming Yuan Bei Corporation. Sue me all you want, go on. CEO Yu, I don't want to help either side, but your words just now pointed at Yuan Bei Corporation. Are you implying that they are the ones setting Luo Yu up? Do you have any evidence? A reporter quickly caught on. Yu Miaodong said plainly, we always base our claims on evidence. Feng Wei, play the video now. I believe everyone will soon understand why I have invited you all over. Hefeng, all of the Senate members froze. The footage Li Chunxing had shown was too shocking. The side effects of Luo Yu's products had been created by Yuan Bei by injecting their blood-dissolving serum into the beauty pill, causing the death of 6 users and the suffering of 4. What was most shocking was that they had created a contagious virus, called the WQ033 series virus. Yuan Bei Corporation wanted to make a profit out of selling antibiotics for it. This was too intolerable. Almost everyone directed their eyes on Chong Hui. They didn't expect him to be Yuan Zhirong's brother, wanting to use this to take a step further in his political career. Chang Hui, what else do you have to say? Qian Fanghan looked coldly at Chang Hui. He no longer seemed slow, seeming very decisive now. Qian Fanghan didn't expect the evidence Li Chunxing would release to be this shocking. Although he had some scattered evidence, he wasn't able to acquire decisive evidence as the conspirators had hidden very deeply. Yet now, Li Chunxing took out such pivotal evidence. This Chang Hui was sweating all over. He wanted to accuse them of framing him, but the recorded video was just too clear. How could it be wrong? He hadn't even changed his outfit. Who was it? Who? How could last night's events appear here? Chang Hui was close to breaking down. He only had one thought. It's over. Completely over. Niu Zhengman also looked at the video in disbelief. He no longer retained his composure. Chang Hui was Yuan Zhirong's brother? His head buzzed as he realized he had also been tricked. By Chang Hui, that is. They had been using him as a pawn, yet funnily enough, he kept helping the Yuan family. There was only one thought in Niu Zhengman's mind now, that he was a pig. Chang Hui, so you're an animal wearing human skin. Secretary Qian Fanghan, this is our fault. I will immediately self-reflect and call people to take Chang Hui away. I have sinned letting such a man amongst us dash. Ji Dun stood up and said. Qian Fanghan waved his hand. No need. The people outside will take him away. We shall continue our meeting. As soon as he said this, 2 policemen with guns came in, and they dragged Chang Hui away. However, there was more. After those 2 left, tens of police officers all armed with guns came in. Ji Dun's heart sunk. The police took away Hui Chong without going through the police department. This made him have a bad feeling. He was the chief of the Hefeng police department, yet he didn't even know when so many policemen had arrived outside. How could this be called a meeting with so many police in the room? Not only Ji Dun thought of this, everyone else did too. Hefeng would be undergoing a massive change. Qian Fanghan didn't seem to care about what everyone thought and went back to his slow-paced manner of talking. Now, let us discuss the second point. This one is about Niu Zhengman and Ji Dun's money laundering, and about Niu Zhengman harming the lives of hundreds of villagers. This was no longer a meeting indeed. This was an interrogation. Niu Zhengman was sweating. He knew things didn't look good already, but he just didn't expect all this to come so suddenly. He didn't even have a chance to strike back. He had underestimated Qian Fanghan. Harming hundreds of lives, Niu Zhengman didn't need to think hard to know that this was related to the Shitong Dam case. But he would still hold his ground and wait for Qian Fanghan's evidence. Without evidence, he would still be able to strike back. But Ji Dun couldn't keep it up, old secretary. Although there are things of my job that I haven't done well, I can't accept this blaming me of having laundered money. Qian Fanghan smiled. This isn't blaming. You did it yourself. Then, Qian Fanghan put his USB stick into a slot. The projector displayed all accounts of Ji Dun's money laundering and other illegal activity, as well as evidence of him receiving bribes from Niu Zhengman. Ji Dun immediately let loose like a sagging balloon. He finally understood why Qian Fanghan didn't do anything for half a year. He was collecting evidence and making them feel relaxed. Seeing Ji Dun get taken away, Niu Zhengman felt relaxed. Luckily, it was only that evidence. Although it was still money laundering, this wasn't the worst-case scenario. Then, Qian Fanghan looked at Niu Zhengman and said, the reason why you haven't been taken away is because you haven't seen a certain recording yet. Mayor Li, do you think there's something this righteous Mayor Niu needs to see? Definitely, Secretary Qian. Li Chunxing smiled. He knew that this was pretty much a one-sided battle now. The following videos made Niu Zhengman fall into despair completely. It even included footage of him gambling in Las Vegas. Seeing the food poisoning incident and the underground base, Niu Zhengman knew that it was the end of him. Looking at Niu Zhengman getting dragged out, Qian Fanghan commented morosely, it's unfortunate that our good mayor, Mayor Su, wanted to make things happen for the people yet was harmed by pests like Niu Zhengman. Thank goodness for Mayor Li this time. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have been able to find out this much this quick. I thank you on behalf of the country and the people. Li Chunxing quickly stood up and said, I was just doing what I should be doing. Compared to Secretary Qian's work, this much is nothing. Qian Fanghan waved his hand. There's no denying your work. What is true is true. I just didn't expect Mayor Li to gather more evidence in a few days than I did in half a year. It seems we need to give the important positions to young people now." As Qin Fanghan stopped Li Chunxing from saying anything else, he said, "The third thing to mention today is that Niu Jingman, Hui Chong, and Ji Dun are relieved of their duties, and that Mayor Li will be serving as Hefeng's substitute mayor and as its central secretary at the same time." What followed was a round of applause. Everyone clearly agreed. Li Chunxing sighed. This all came to be thanks to Yimo. He engraved into his mind to, no matter what, never fight Yimo. He had 10,000 ways to end Niu Man, yet he'd chosen the most complicated way. Only this was able to make him and Shishio benefit the most. Okay then, most of our government officials are still good people. I will now have the police surround the Yuan family. This meeting is a turning point for Hefeng. What we need to do next is to face this crazy Yuan family and see what they're up to. Qin Fanghan stood up and declared in a loud voice. What made Xiao Lei very overjoyed was that not only could her channel broadcast live what was going on, but they had also captured Niu Man and his men getting taken away. What made Xiao Lei very overjoyed was that not only could her channel broadcast live what was going on, but they had also captured Niu Man and his men getting taken away. What is more, when Li Chunxing came out, he accepted her to interview him and invited their channel to go get the Yuan family together. All the workers in Peacock Channel felt that they had earned a lot that day. They were only an average news channel in Beijing, but thanks to Xiao Lei's connections, they could broadcast something as significant as that in Hefeng. Not even Hefeng Channel got to broadcast it. Almost all the higher-ups in Hefeng, the police and many congregated reporters went towards the Yuan family's place. Lu Yingying trusted Yimo. She had been waiting at the outskirts of the Yuan family's mansion. She hadn't even eaten lunch. Yimo indeed didn't disappoint her. When she saw the massive crow coming, she knew she would get her revenge. Lu Yingying wiped her years off. She was finally going to get her revenge. She walked towards Xiao Lei ready to tell her everything Yuan Jirong had done. The same feeling of shock took place in Guilin and Yu State. The video Yu Miaodong had played shocked everyone. The problem with the beauty pill and the health pill was actually a shenanigan of the Yuan Bei Corporation. Yet not only had they done this, in order to dominate the market, Yuan Bei Corporation was going to spread a virus. The uproar this caused even exceeded Luo Yu's conference in Beijing last time. Everyone gazed at Lu Cueyang in contempt. She never would have thought that Luo Yu could take out such shocking video proof. No wonder they had said they were going to give everyone a clear and happy answer. What could be more clear than that? CEO Yu, I knew that Luo Yu wouldn't be capable of doing such a thing. I trust Luo Yu, a reporter said and then asked, CEO Yu, may I get a copy of this clip? Yu Miaodong sneered. She knew these people's character. If Luo Yu was on the downside, they would come to them and kick them. It was the law of the jungle in this world. Yu Miaodong smiled and said, you may download the clip from our official website. I don't want to disturb everyone's work. I will conclude the press conference. Almost everyone felt the trip there had been worth it. It was in a matter of minutes for the clip to spread all over the country, but Xiao Lei's channel still took the lead. The press conference in Yu State had been arranged by Ning Zhongfei and Li Mumei. Then, she also released a video of these departments threatening them to take away their license, among other stuff. Yu State was in shock. Almost immediately after the video was released, the government reacted. They quickly fired these people and gave back what they had taken. At that moment, everyone realized how powerful Luo Yu was, so great that no one would dare do anything. And they hadn't seen all of their power yet. In that moment, everyone's eyes were glued to Beijing's Peacock News channel. They were broadcasting how the corrupted Yuan family colluded with government officials, developing a virus and framing Luo Yu. Yuan Jirong sat in his mansion with a pale face. He looked through the window as the police surrounded his manor. His heart sunk to the bottom. Although a few minutes ago he had received news that a video of their meeting last night had been leaked, he calmed down quickly. He tried to contact Chang Hui and Yozi Hengman, but their phones were turned off. Although he thought they might be in a meeting, he still had a bad feeling. Yuan Jirong still believed he could use his power and overcome it. But when he heard that Chang Hui, Niu Jingman, and Ji Dun had been all taken away, he knew things were not good. He had underestimated Luo Yu's power. It had only been one night, and they completely turned the tables. He needed to run away immediately, but he also realized it was too late. Yuan Zhirong, you have been surrounded. Raise your hands and come out, a policeman said with a microphone. President, we have been exposed, Yuan Weiping said calmly. Yuan Zhirong looked at the people outside with a green face. He really couldn't understand who had exposed him. Those who had been in that room were only his brother, his son, and Weiping, who would have leaked it. But Yuan Zhirong knew it wasn't the moment to think about it. He said to the police waiting outside, we have 36 scientists in our manor. With only pressing the button of this controller, they will all die. I have no other requests but to let us go with a helicopter and not to do anything in an hour. Qian Fanghan and Li Chunxing glanced at each other and laughed. Did he think he could run away in an hour with a helicopter? Just when Qian Fanghan wanted to order the snipers to execute Yuan Zhirong, his secretary handed him the phone. After the call ended, Qian Fanghan's expression wasn't good. No one knew what the content of the call was, but Yimo could hear a bit from the side. Agree to his words, let him go for now. The safety of the hostages is top priority. Although he knew this was unreasonable, Qian Fanghan couldn't do anything about it. He knew it was being broadcasted live. Li Chunxing looked at Qian Fanghan confused. He didn't say anything. Yimo used his spirit sense. Yuan Zhirong had a sneer on his face. He said to Yuan Ping, prepare the helicopter. We will leave immediately. Binger, you dashed. Yuan Zhirong stopped speaking as Yuan Qibing ran out of the mansion as though he had gone mad, and shouted as he ran, I'll tell you everything. A year ago, the movie star Enru came to Hefeng and didn't agree to sleep with me. I killed her. The 4 missing young girls in Hefeng 3 years ago were also killed by me. A master of mine said I could use virgins to cultivate. I also came up the idea of the virus. Seeing him in this crazy state, everyone was shocked. No one understood why he had admitted all of this, but the more he admitted, the more unsolved cases became clear. Young CEP. Yuan Weiping looked at Yuan Qibing in shock. Yuan Zhirong said hatefully, this delinquent son. Ignore him. Let's go. Yuan Zhirong left without hesitation. Yuan Weiping glanced at Yuan Qibing and sighed. As though he could feel Yuan Zhirong was leaving him, Yuan Qibing recovered his consciousness and turned back yelling as he ran, Dad, wait for me. I'll die if I stay. But Yuan Zhirong didn't seem to have heard it. After half a minute, a helicopter rose up and disappeared very fast. Yuan Qibing collapsed on the ground, whimpering. Yuan Zhirong sneered and pressed the controller. I told you to investigate, but you never found anything? Boom, the mansion exploded, leaving behind a huge mushroom cloud. Boom, the mansion exploded, leaving behind a huge mushroom cloud. Everyone was shocked. The police had agreed to his request, yet he still blew up his mansion. No one knew why, though. If it was about destroying the evidence, the base should have been enough. Yimo didn't expect that the power would be so great either. Even the base was probably affected. President, something doesn't seem right. Yuan Weiping was looking at a screen. Get rid of all communication, go into stealth mode, and maximize our speed. It doesn't matter if it seems right or wrong. As long as the base was destroyed, Yuan Zhirong said. Yuan Weiping said worriedly, our base wasn't blown up. The mansion was blown up instead. What? Yuan Zhirong immediately figured out why the video was leaked. Their family had been infiltrated. Spurt, Yuan Zhirong spat out blood in his rage. Luo Yu, I admit I underestimated you. If I don't get revenge for this, then Yuan Zhirong's face was white as paper. He knew that he had lost completely this time. Li Chunxing saw that Qian Fanghan wasn't saying anything while the helicopter left and immediately knew that this was a problem. However, no matter how strong the Yuan family was, could they be stronger than the Song family? Hence, he didn't worry that Yuan Zhirong would get away. Seeing the helicopter leave without being stopped, Yimo sneered. This was just as he'd expected. This was a clash between higher-ups, but that had nothing to do with him. Qian Fanghan's face had, this has nothing to do with me, written all over it. You big shots can brawl all you want, but there's no way you can escape from my eyes. I really want to see how someone will save you in this situation. The person who would try to save Yuan Zhirong was pretty much a pig waiting to be roasted. Guillermo didn't understand how his helicopter could be so fast, though. It couldn't even be called a helicopter, but rather a jet instead. Guillermo didn't care about any political brawls. He wasn't going to let Yuan Zhirong go. Even if he had to take a spaceship, Guillermo would still chase him. President, should we find a place where we can get an alternative vehicle before leaving? Although our plane is the best in the world, it's just too big, Yuan Weiping said worriedly. Yuan Zhirong's veins were bulging. He still wasn't able to determine who could have had such power as to relocate all the bombs from the base to his mansion. He had dominated everyone all his life. Since when did he have to suffer this hard? No need. Since they say they can delay the chase for 1 hour, they should be able to. If they can't do even that, then I'd rather die than give them what they want, Yuan Zhirong said cruelly. President, although that thing is very important, anything can always happen, just like last night. Also, Yuan Weiping paused. Yuan Zhirong woke up from his anger and said, Also what? Yuan Weiping continued as he piloted the plane. We're not even that big of a family in Beijing. If they go back on their words and disregard what we have. Yuan Zhirong had regained his composure, so hearing this, he said after a moment, Weiping, you're right. We have to rely on ourselves for everything. They helped us not because of how strong we are. Wait, these people saved me for now, but they won't let me go just like that. Weiping, find a place to land immediately. We can't take this plane. You are very smart indeed. But your Yuan family is useless. A virus that was pretty much finished was given to you. Yet you weren't even capable of spreading it. Such incapable people. For some minor interests, you went and offended a small company. If you don't want to die immediately, stop the plane at the Duanheng ranges. A voice suddenly sounded, seemingly very angry. Yuan Zhirong and Yuan Weiping looked at a speaker in the corner. Even if they were idiots, they would still realize that they'd been completely used. Who are you? Who the hell are you? Yuan Zhirong screamed at that speaker. Calling Luo Yu's product just some minor interest. Who the hell was this person? Yuan Zhirong had been using people all his life, but he had never been so utterly used himself. You don't need to ask who I am. You just need to steer the plane where I tell you to. Although I don't care about that thing, your life still has some use, the voice said. How did our Yuan family offend you? Are you the one who gave the thing to Binger? Why did you do that? Why did you not choose all those big families but us instead? Yuan Zhirong's tone was getting crazier. The cold voice replied, Because your family wasn't too powerful. That's why I chose you. But like the pig you are, you blew up your mansion instead of the base. The reason I saved you is because you can still be of some use. Yuan Zhirong was dazed and said dumbly, I'm a pig. I'm a pig indeed. Ha ha ha, I was a pig once, but I won't be a pig twice. If I really go where you tell me to, I will probably still die. You're just making me bring the thing. Even if I die, I won't let you get what you want. You want death? Do you not desire revenge? The tone was much smoother this time. Yuan Zhirong's expression was one of madness. My greatest enemy is you, but I know that I can't get revenge. If I were able to kill my enemies, my first victim would be you, and then Luo Yu. I know that even if this hadn't happened, when I gave the thing to you, our Yuan family would still be over. Weiping, let's die together. Steer the plane towards the rocks. Weiping answered calmly, Yes, President. Then, the plane charged towards the mountain. Hearing this, the tone of the speaker became agitated. Yuan Zhirong, you're crazy. Stop right now. That's right, I'm crazy. I can be used once, but don't even think of trying to use me twice. Yuan Zhirong's tone suddenly became calm. He ignored the speaker and said to Weiping, Weiping, you've been by my side for tens of years, and I eventually ended up taking you on a path of no return. I'm sorry. Yuan Weiping smiled, President, as I vowed before. From the day you saved me and my sister, my life was yours. Okay, Weiping, I'm a few years older than you. Just call me Big Brother. Yuan Zhirong's tone was very calm, and he had a deep sense of relief. He knew that no matter what, there was no way out. Big Brother, Yuan Weiping said without hesitation. As soon as he called him Big Brother, the helicopter crashed into the mountain in a huge explosion. Guillermo, who was following behind closely in the air, stopped. He could tell that this was suicide. He didn't understand why Yuan Zhirong still sought death after having made it out. Yi Mo landed near the rubble. Their bodies almost couldn't be recognized. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense and was sure that the two dead men were Yuan Zhirong and Yuan Weiping. Yi Mo didn't feel anything. The two got what they deserved. A small golden case caught Yi Mo's attention. Yi Mo grabbed the case through the air and opened it. The space inside was very small. Other than a diamond-like crystal, there was nothing else. Yi Mo looked at the crystal carefully. It seemed to be just a normal rock, so since he couldn't tell what it was, he dumped it into his storage ring. Other than that, Yi Mo couldn't find anything on the crash site, so he turned and left. An hour later, another helicopter arrived with 3 men in black getting off. They didn't say anything and simply charged into the remains of the crash as they started searching. Half an hour later, the oldest man said in a bleak voice, "There's nothing, no footsteps either, and it doesn't seem to have been searched. It doesn't seem like the thing was brought out." Although he was already in Duanheng ranges and the qi was better than elsewhere, Yi Mo decided to come back to find spirit herbs in the future. His business there was done, and he desperately needed to go back to Flowing Snake to check. Although he was already in Duanheng ranges and the qi was better than elsewhere, Yi Mo decided to come back to find spirit herbs in the future. His business there was done, and he desperately needed to go back to Flowing Snake to check. When Yi Mo arrived to Flowing Snake, Luo Yu had once again became famous. Not only had Yuan Bei been exposed for framing Luo Yu, but they had also been removed from the market overnight. This incident had made everyone remember the Si-Yang milk powder incident from last year. This company had ignored their conscience in order to make more profits. They also got kicked out from the market in one night, and therefore shamed. What Yuan Bei had done was worse than the milk powder company's incident. Not only were they harming the public, but also the citizens. They obtained their star product stealing it from a family after killing the grandpa and brother. They were really evil. If it hadn't been for this incident and the victim, Lu Yingying, exposing them, no one would have even known how bloody the history of the Lu family was. With their plans to spread a virus, if the officials didn't declare Yuan Zhirong to have suicided, he would have probably been eaten alive by the furious public. Although the Yuan family was over, they still had a huge fortune. Under immense pressure, their wealth had been seized by the government for public use, and a part of it was given to victims as a compensation. What is more, Luo Yu was now even more famous, and their products were on higher demand. When Yi Mo came back to Flowing Snake, Ning Qingxue had been waiting for him for a long time. "I want to go back to Yu State and have a look." Ning Qingxue had been waiting to tell him this. Only that. Yi Mo smiled and caressed Ning Qingxue's hair. "I want to put all my efforts on developing Luo Yu after I go see my parents. I'm thinking the same as Sister Yu. Perhaps one day we can turn this place into a city. This city would only belong to us, and no one would disturb us. I like it that way. Although I know it's not very realistic, this is probably the ideal for everyone in Luo Yu." Ning Qingxue had grown up in a big family, and although she didn't participate in those schemes and shenanigans, she was still familiar with those matters. She hated that sort of life, but Yu Miaodon's suggestion about Luo Yu had given her hope. If the land at Flowing Snake could really be bought, then perhaps they could build a paradise there. The main thing was that she believed in Yi Mo. He was an immortal cultivator. Even if he couldn't become a real immortal, he could still build a city. "Okay, I promise you." Yi Mo grabbed Ning Qingxue's hand. She knew how hard it was to make it come true, but he wanted to fulfill her wish. In order to do that, he needed power. Without power, that was just a dream. On Earth, it was too hard to raise his power. Even if he was the only cultivator, it was still very hard. Moreover, Yi Mo wasn't happy with Flowing Snake's land, but he didn't say that. "I'll take you tomorrow." Tonight dash, Yi Mo's mouth was blocked by Ning Qingxue's lips. Ning Qingxue felt her face warm up. She liked the feeling of kissing Yi Mo. After a while, Ning Qingxue looked up blushing. "I can travel tomorrow on my own. In the future, I might have to go back and forth frequently. Furthermore, I'm already at stage 1 peak level. I can't take care of myself. You have a lot of things to do. I can't let you take me there every single time." Yi Mo smiled. Although he didn't think that it was troublesome for him to take Ning Qingxue to Yu State, He respected Ning Qingshue's opinion. She could protect herself now indeed. Okay, I'll teach you how to use fireballs tonight. I also have a qi increasing pill with me. I'll try to get you into stage 2 tonight, he said. However, Ning Qingxue put her arms around Yemo's neck and said, you can teach me these later. Tonight, I'll stay with you. Yemo and Silver sent Ning Qingxue off to the plane before going back to the company. Silver couldn't be taken on the plane, so she could only stay and let Yemo take care of her. Because Ning Qingxue hadn't learned the fireball the previous night, Yemo could only give her a few qi-increasing pills and all of his fireball charms. He had slept with Ning Qingxue last night, but they hadn't broken the final barrier. Although Yemo knew that if he wanted, Ning Qingxue wouldn't reject him, he still wanted to find Luoying first. He had been with Luoying in Luoyu continent. She had saved him more than once. What is more, she had almost lost her life saving him before transmigrating there. He owed Luoying 2 live for reincarnations. So, in his heart his master was in the same place as Ning Qingxue. One thing Yemo hadn't said was that when he could really build a city like Ning Qingxue wished, he would organize the greatest wedding for them together. Ning Qingxue knew what Yemo was thinking. She just embraced him for the rest night. Although they didn't do anything more, it was enough for Ning Qingxue. As long as she was with Yemo, she was happy. If Ning Qingxue really hadn't seen her parents for some time, and if there weren't problems with Feiyu, Ning Qingxue in reality wouldn't have wanted to leave Yemo. Yemo knew he still needed to increase his power. He couldn't take on an entire army, much less a country. If even in the hidden sects he wasn't invincible, in the inner hidden sects it was quite complicated. Even the monk Wu Dan was on a par with him, who could be sure that the only master in the outer hidden sects was Wu Dao. Furthermore, Yemo wasn't fighting alone now. He had his family, wife and friends. Even if he could run away, they would be in great danger. Although he hadn't been to the inner hidden sects, Yemo was sure there were people stronger than him, and not just 1 or 2. But even so, he still needed to go to increase his power and find spirit herbs. He also needed to take revenge on Tai Yi for almost killing Ning Qingxue. He wasn't going to tell her about this. Before going to the inner hidden sects, Yemo still wanted to see the place where Zhang Zhihui had gone missing. In Flowing Snake, Yemo had stayed in his room making magic artifacts the entire day. Before he left, he wanted to give everyone important to him a defense artifact. When Yemo was done, he put them away in his ring. He immediately after sensed someone entering his room. Yemo was shook. Who was entering his room? He had just found out. Since when had a master like this arrived to Flowing Snake? Who are you? Yemo suddenly turned around and saw a figure by the window. The person by the window seemed very shocked that Yemo was able to notice him, and stuttered in Chinese, did you detect my arrival? The person by the window seemed very shocked that Yemo was able to notice him, and stuttered in Chinese, did you detect my arrival? Save the bullsh T, tell me who you are, or you won't have a chance to talk again, Yemo said coldly. Even if this person told him who he was, Yemo still wasn't going to let him go. That room was Ning Qingshue's. If he hadn't been there that day, Ning Qingxue would have been by herself. How could Yemo let a stranger who snuck into her room go? The reason Yemo had asked was to see if there was anyone else involved. The man was a foreigner. He had white skin and a small figure. Although Yemo had spirit sense, he couldn't keep it out 24/7. But even if he didn't, Yemo could still feel anyone coming near him. This was the first time he hadn't noticed a person, and this had raised alarm bells for Yemo. As soon as Yemo spoke, another man jumped inside. He was much bulkier than the other man. This was a black man. Yemo scanned his spirit sense out. There was actually a third man outside. Yemo sneered, but stayed quiet about it. No chance? The first man repeated and laughed. Then he said sardonically, you say we have no chance? Do you know I can kill you simply by waving my hand? The other man also didn't move nor say anything. It was as though Yemo didn't exist in his eyes. There were 2 white men and 1 black man. Yemo was confused. Since when was he in conflict with those foreigners? Why did they want to capture Qingxue? They had a strange qi around them. It wasn't like the qi wave of ancient martial arts cultivators, nor like his spirit qi. It was very subtle, but as strong as the power of ancient martial arts, so Yemo couldn't judge how strong they really were. To be honest, Yemo had never seen such power before, and he didn't know what they were cultivating. Yemo just asked coldly, "I don't know you. Why are you here? You're unlucky. Why are you in Ms. Ning's room?" "Oh, are you her man? Ms. Ning Qingxue is quite pretty, but don't worry. We're here to invite her to our headquarters. We have no ill will. But it's very troublesome that you know about this. However, if you tell us where she went, we can let you go," the first man said casually. Yemo's expression was cold. Ning Qingxue didn't know these people for sure. Why did they want her? Yemo suddenly realized something. Eden must have told what Ning Qingxue had said to the U.S. government, and now they wanted her for information. Because this matter was confidential, the U.S. military wanted to abduct Ning Qingxue, so the Chinese military couldn't find out. One really can't be too kind-hearted. Yemo had killing intent. If he had killed Eden, then nothing would have happened. But he hadn't killed Eden, nor the pirate. Although Yemo knew it wasn't Eden's fault, in the cultivation realm dead people were the safest. The foreigner noticed Yemo's killing intent. He sneered. "It seems that Ms. Ning has told you about the incident, and you know how serious it is. If you're willing to come with us, we can let you live." Yemo sneered. "I really wanted you to piss off, but now you no longer have that chance." As soon as Yemo said this, he swept 2 wind blades at the 2 men, followed up by 2 fireballs. He didn't need to have mercy on these stupid foreigners. PSH, the first man dodged the lethal strike with extremely rapid speed, so Yemo only managed to cut one of his arm off. The fireball turned that arm into ashes, but it didn't hurt his vital organs. The other man completely dodged the wind blade and fireball, and he shot back a spark of lightning. It was the first time Yemo saw someone as fast as these two. They were no lesser than ancient martial artists. Lightning-style attack was rather strong in the cultivation realm. Only those who had a lightning spiritual root could use it. Yemo hadn't expected to see someone use lightning style on Earth. His heart sunk. Had he encountered a cultivator with lightning spiritual root? If he had, then Yemo wouldn't be able to survive that night. But Yemo soon found out that he could dodge that lightning strike easily. It didn't have the lock-on of a strong spirit sense. It struck the floor, creating a large hole. Was this even a lightning-style attack? Yemo felt strange. He had never seen a lightning attack as bad as this one. Even the weakest lightning spiritual root cultivator could use lightning arts much better than that. He's a wind and fire-type mutant, and he has reached level 4. "We will retreat and request for backup," the white man who hadn't come and said in English. Yemo just woke up from his shock and realized that the 2 intruders were retreating. Regardless, since they had come, Yemo wasn't going to let them go. That lightning strike couldn't damage him, but if he let them go, that would be real disaster. If their lightning-style cultivation reached a certain state, even he wouldn't be a match for them. The first man was shorter and seemed to be agile. Furthermore, he knew Chinese. Yemo threw 3 wind blades after him before they jumped out of the window. The man already had an arm cut off. With a few more wind blades, he would be sliced into pieces and fall on the ground. The lightning-style man was tall and very fast. After seeing his teammate get killed, he threw 2 more lightning strikes at Yemo. Yemo could feel that lightning strike was even weaker than the one before. He shouldn't bother dodging it, so he just went past it and threw a fireball at that man's back. Yemo thought that since they could dodge his windblade and fireball, they would dodge that fireball for sure. But as soon as he did, the next wind blade would slice off their legs. What Yemo didn't expect was that who he considered the strongest lightning-style cultivator couldn't even dodge his fireball as he ran. He was just burnt into ashes. Yemo was dazed. Why was it that easy? It was as though he had used huge amounts of power to lift up something heavy, only to find out it was hollow and made out of plastic. Could lightning-style cultivators really be that weak? Yemo shook his head and put down the thought. There had been one more, but when Yemo searched for him, he was already out of his spirit sense range. Yemo thought about what just happened. He wanted Suiwahua to investigate, but there were mountains all around Flowing Snake. It was impossible for the current state of Flowing Snake to lock someone good down, unless this place became a city. A city? Yemo realized that he might actually have to build a city there. Yimo walked to the lightning-style man's body and didn't feel that he cultivated lightning steel cultivation method, nor spirit chi. That man wasn't a Dao cultivator. If he wasn't, how could he use lightning-style magic? Mutants? Yimo thought of this word. That mutant power was too weak for him. Even if he had been struck, he wouldn't have gotten hurt. The Americans had sent a few mutants to capture Ning Qingxue. It seemed they cared a lot about that Japanese organization. Yimo destroyed the bodies casually and called Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue was about to enter stage 2 and had a lot of fireball charms, so she should be capable of dealing with a few mutants. There was also Luo Fei, who was a black level, to take into account. Ning Qingxue was about to enter stage 2 and had a lot of fireball charms, so she should be capable of dealing with a few mutants. There was also Luo Fei, who was a black level, to take into account. That night, Yimo went around Flowing Snake for a few hours, but still couldn't find that escaped mutant. The next morning, Yimo called out all the managerial staff of Flowing Snake. Before he left, he needed to have another meeting. Suiwahua suggested that the first step towards independence should be the instatement of Flowing Snake's own protection unit and establishment of a simple legal system. So they copied China's legal system. After distributing the defensive artifacts, Yimo asked, "Who knows about mutants?" Mutants? The only thing most people there knew about Yimo was that he was good at making pills. So now that Yimo asked this strange question, they thought, is he a mutant? "I know some things," Suiwahua said. "There are many types of mutants, and though it is unknown how many there are, those who really have offensive capabilities to speak of number only 10 to 20 types. For example, fire-style mutants can use flames to attack, but if they aren't at a certain level, the flames do little damage to the human body." Seeing how Yimo was listening intently, she said again, "But once a mutant's power has been completely awakened, it is rather strong. To be exact, the World Mutant Association has ranked the mutant's power level into 10 levels. Fire-style mutants who barely control flames, for example, are level 1 mutants, also called primary mutants. The highest level is level 10. Those 8 and above are tertiary mutants. It's said that wind-style mutants have to be level 8 to be able to fly a short distance. Those are only theoretical data, though. Yimo could rest easy now. He was sure that level 8 would be very hard to reach. Even when reached, it would be similar to his wind control at most. In fact, everyone has some mutant power in them, but the situation and type can vary strongly. We sometimes randomly see sparkles on people. That might be because they're a fire-type mutant that can't control their power. One must have a certain body type and amount of talent to reach level 1. It could be said that mutants are very rare, and each one of them is deemed a national treasure, Suiwahua explained. Indeed, although I don't know it very well, but every single country has a mutant organization, most of which serve their own nation, Zhang Jian said. Only now did Yimo realize how valuable those people who came last night were. They were the elite of the country, and there didn't seem to be much of them. He just didn't know what level they had been at. It seemed like the U.S. really did take the Japanese incident seriously, even sending such important people. After everyone had left, Yimo sighed. He didn't know how many mutants there were in China, but Earth-level ancient martial artists were no bit inferior to those mutants. China was inferior when it came to both intel and military organization, though. There was no other reason than a lack of unity. Yimo had researched Chinese history, and it appeared that most of the Chinese wars had been lost due to either themselves or traitors. They often fought among themselves, preferring outsiders to win instead of their opponents. China was also far inferior in terms of technology. Yimo shook his head. Casting these thoughts aside, Yimo handed silver to Yu Miaodong. He was going to finish up his things and go back to cultivating while searching for Luoing. 4 State, 9 Moon Sect. This was the second time Yimo came here. The first time was when he was searching for Luoing. Yimo once said that he was going to eradicate this evil place. It wasn't the first time that the 9 Moon Sect people offended him, but he had been very busy in the past and didn't have time to deal with them. Strictly speaking, the 9 Moon Sect was also in the ranges of Mount Qingshao. When Yimo came here today, he almost couldn't believe that this was the 9 Moon Sect's place. What was once a huge maze of structures now only had a few broken pillars and shattered walls. Burnt rubble laid everywhere. Emo came down from the sky, scanning around with his spirit sense, and he soon saw some clues. There must have been a huge fight. Looking at the ruins, Emo remembered Nya Shuangshuang. Emo didn't have any great impression of her. If she hadn't risked her life trying to send him news, perhaps he wouldn't have even helped her last time. Just as Emo wanted to leave, his spirit sense stumbled upon an underground room. Although the entrance was blocked, Emo could still scan his spirit sense in. The door wasn't very thick, and it couldn't block his spirit sense. There was a body inside. It was a bit saggy, but it had a set of big red robes on it. Emo thought of Nyahongi. This woman might be the master of that Nyahongi. She had some dried blood on the corner of her mouth. She probably had a huge battle with someone right before she died. She had a bag next to her, inside of which was an ancient sheepskin book. Emo thought that it had to be the cultivation method of the Nine Moon sect. Emo had no interest in it, and didn't even want to go down. This stone room looked ghastly anyway. It was the kind of place where spirits and ghosts gather. Emo shook his head, and just as he wanted to leave, 3 figures walked down the small, crooked mountain path, clearly heading to the Nine Moon sect. Nye Shuangshuang? Although they were still far away, Emo recognized her at first glance nonetheless. It seemed like that lotus life pill had saved her, but what was she doing here? Emo didn't want to see Nye Shuangshuang, so he hid. When Emo's spirit sense scanned across them, he found that Nye Shuangshuang's was already below yellow level. Last time he saw her, she was yellow level middle stage. If this went on, perhaps in some time, she would become an ordinary person. The 2 men who followed Nye Shuangshuang were very bulky and carried some digging tools with them. They were just normal humans. Probably they had never cultivated. Emo could immediately tell that Nye Shuangshuang wanted to dig out the cave the old woman was in. It's here. Dig open this place first. As Emo was lost in thought, Nye Shuangshuang had already brought them to that underground room. The 2 men walked to where Nye Shuangshuang was pointing at, but they didn't begin digging. Instead, they stared at Nye Shuangshuang lustfully without shame. The 2 men walked to where Nye Shuangshuang was pointing at, but they didn't begin digging. Instead, they stared at Nye Shuangshuang lustfully without shame. Without Luan Luan, Nye Shuangshuang no longer had that succubus lure, but she was still much prettier than any celebrity. She looked feeble and like she needed protection. With her soft but very busted chest, she was very enticing. If there were a lot of people there, they would at most check her out a bit. But there was no one there, and the mountain was very steep. Moreover, birds rarely went up that high as well. If something happened there, no one would know. Nye Shuangshuang looked like a young girl, and she had brought 2 bulky men there. No wonder they looked at her like that. Nye Shuangshuang didn't seem to notice the way they stared at her. She just groaned. Keep digging. My master told me this is where she buried the gold. What? Are you saying there is gold here? One of the bulky men said excitedly. The other man also looked at her excitedly. Even the lust in his eyes had receded a lot. Yes, yes. Hurry up and dig. I will treat you guys well. Nye Shuangshuang ushered. The 2 men glanced at each other, and without hesitation started to dig with the shovels. Nye Shuangshuang looked at them as they dug, instructing them on the side. Emo sighed. Under Nye Shuangshuang's seductiveness, their IQ had gone down to 0. It was suicide. Although Nye Shuangshuang was below yellow level, she could easily take on these 2, who had never cultivated. That woman was still the same. Even though Luan Luan had left, she still didn't take other people's lives seriously. But these 2 got what they deserved. Even if they hadn't lusted for Nye Shuangshuang, Emo believed that she wasn't going to let them go afterwards. Emo shook his head. It was time to leave. If he stayed, all there was to see would be Nye Shuangshuang killing them. Emo had no interest in that. Just when Emo was planning to leave, he saw another man come up the mountain road. He supported himself with 2 crutches, but he was still eerily fast. How could a man who had broken legs be that fast? Emo immediately recognized this person. It was Nye Pai. He had broken his legs in Beijing. He was probably the big martial brother of the Nine Moon sect. He hadn't expected that guy to be here too. Without a doubt, He was there for the same reason as Nie Shuangshuang. Nie Shuangshuang was so weak that she didn't even notice his arrival and kept instructing the two men to dig. Nie Pai saw this and didn't approach them. He also found a place to hide, while watching Nie Shuangshuang dig. If Nie Shuangshuang hadn't been here, Ye Mo would have killed him immediately, but he didn't want to talk to Nie Shuangshuang. Nie Shuangshuang seemed to have some feelings towards him. It was probably due to his cultivation method. Ye Mo didn't want to meddle with that sort of woman. He was disgusted at those who belonged to the Nine Moon sect. "I see the entrance," one man called out in excitement. Nie Shuangshuang took out a mine torch and said, "Two brothers, let's go in and have a look." The two men had already walked down the stairs, as Nie Shuangshuang followed behind. "What's wrong?" The man looked back and saw Nie Shuangshuang rubbing her ankle. "I think I twisted my ankle," Nie Shuangshuang said guiltily. "What the hell?" the man at the back muttered. Seeing that his pal had gone deep inside, he took the torch and said, "Wait here for me. I'll go down and have a look first." Before Nie Shuangshuang could reply, he went in. Nie Shuangshuang quickly called, "The thing is inside a stone room. You need to open the door to get it." The two men weren't in the mood to listen, and they just ran down rapidly. After the two had left, Nie Shuangshuang stood up with confidence and quickly got out of the cave. She waited on the side facing the sun. Ye Mo's spirit sense scanned that the two men kept hitting the door, which wasn't thick. With their repeated strikes, it broke gradually and got shattered. But before the two men could see their gold, the bleak chi of evil spirits rushed out. They were invaded by that chi immediately, and they fell on the ground, writhing before dying. The chi in no time seeped out of the stone room and rushed onto ground. But as soon as the sunlight shone on them, they turned to dust. If Ye Mo hadn't had his spirit sense, he wouldn't have been able to see this either. No evil spirit could reach Nie Shuangshuang. They dissipated rapidly, and in half an hour they were all gone. Nie Shuangshuang exhaled at ease, and she approached the entrance of the cave again. Just when she wanted to go in, a bleak voice from hell sounded, "Martial Sister Shuangshuang. Some people really do meet at all points in life, don't they? You're finally willing to come back to our sect? Ha 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 ha. It's you, Nie Pai." Nie Shuangshuang's expression changed. She had no hopes of victory against Nie Pai. "Why are you here?" Nie Shuangshuang knew that it was impossible for her big martial brother to have mercy on her. Nie Pai laughed cruelly. "How am I here? I followed you this time before you came back here. You tell me, how did I come here? Do you know how hard it was for me? I saw you every day, but I couldn't fuck you. I waited arduously, and today you finally came back to take the thing. I knew that old hag would tell you where she hid it. It was just as I expected. Ha 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 ha. You've been following me?" Nie Shuangshuang's face got pale. She'd been very careful that time, but she still got caught and followed for so long without noticing. Nie Pai sneered as he walked to her. "You be asterisk T. I'm your big martial brother. How dare you not serve me? You colluded with Ye Mo to break my legs at Yin Shui River. If I don't fuck you to death today, you will become my big martial sister." "What? When did I dash?" Nie Shuangshuang stopped. She saw that Nie Pai's legs were broken. That meant that the person she had seen before she died that day was Ye Mo. Nie Shuangshuang breathed heavily. No matter what, Ye Mo didn't just watch her die, nor let her fend for herself. If someone else or Nie Pai had come back, she didn't dare imagine what would have happened. She was satisfied. Ye Mo had managed to break Nie Pai's leg, and when he had mentioned him, he had a deep fear in his eyes. From this, she could see that Ye Mo was much stronger than Nie Pai. When she thought about that, Nie Shuangshuang smiled. "Be asterisk tch. While I take your virginity and strip you naked for everyone to see, we'll see if you can still smile." Nie Pai was angry at the fact Nie Shuangshuang wasn't scared anymore. Nie Shuangshuang knew that this day would be her last, so she smiled contemptuously. "Nie Pai, can you even fuck a woman like me? Keep dreaming, you disabled man. Even if I die, I won't let a disabled man like you assault me." Then, Nie Shuangshuang took out 2 needles and tried to stab herself with them the head. "Do you want to die? I will grant you that wish, but not now." Nie Pai flung his hand, and a silver ray flashed. Nie Shuangshuang's 2 needles had fallen in Nie Pai's hands. Why isn't that F** buddy of yours coming to save you today? Ha ha ha. You've been with him for so long, yet you're still a virgin? Does he have some problems with his manlyhood? Ahaha. I guess you can only give your first to your big martial brother now. Nyapai laughed. Why isn't that F** buddy of yours coming to save you today? Ha ha ha. You've been with him for so long, yet you're still a virgin? Does he have some problems with his manlyhood? Ahaha. I guess you can only give your first to your big martial brother now. Nyapai laughed. Nya Shuang looked at her empty hand and started to worry. She just remembered that Nyapai was an earth-level master. She couldn't even kill herself in front of him. Before Nya Shuang could react, Nyapai moved his crutches and dashed in front of Nya Shuang. He slapped her on the neck and snarled, "Why don't you sleep for a while? After I take the thing, I will enjoy you and show you whether this big martial brother of yours is disabled or not." Nya Shuang fell down without resistance. Nyapai was prepared to walk into the room, yet at the entrance, he suddenly found that there was already someone there. Nyapai was shocked. He was an earth-level master. Even without his legs, no one should be able to come in front of him without him noticing, but he really hadn't noticed this person. "Who are you?" Nyapai soon calmed down as he saw a young man in his 20s stand before him. Yemo sneered, "After cutting off your legs and seeing you run away in the river, I didn't think I would see you again today. It really must be fate." "It's you, Yemo?" Nyapai's heart sunk. He was really feeling regretful. He cursed himself for not thinking that Yemo might come today. Since Nya Shuang came, of course Yemo could come too. Nyapai realized that there would be no way for him to escape today. Yemo was the strongest master he had ever seen. Although he wished to take revenge, he would rather never see Yemo again. Yet he'd still encountered him today. As Nyapai was still dazed, Yemo threw out a few wind blades. Nyapai was an earth-level primary stage. Sure, but he was still killed by Yemo without any resistance. Yemo hadn't planned on going inside the cave, but since it was opened, he entered it and brought a bag out. The bag was made out of very good materials, but it wasn't attractive to Yemo. He opened the book in a casual way, but soon, Yemo was stunned. This was a real Dao cultivation method. It was called the 9-Moon Evergreen Chant. This wasn't some evil cultivation method at all, and it was actually much stronger than those ancient martial arts cultivation methods. Even though this cultivation method could only make one reach the Qi gathering stage at most, on Earth, it was invaluable. If Yemo didn't have his own cultivation method, and if this cultivation method wasn't meant for women, he would cultivate it for sure. Yemo opened the book and immediately understood why the 9-Moon sect members had been so evil. The introduction of the chant said, "To fate, people are mere toys to play around with. It wants man to have death in life, to have life in death. Yet my Tao is one of longevity, using the self as the universe, the heart and liver as the heaven and earth, gathering the Yin essence, cultivating the Yin soul. Forget the hollow and fake. See not, think not, hear not, worry not. There is neither internal nor external." Yemo sighed. It indeed clearly instructed how to absorb spirit Qi of the heavens and earth as the basis of cultivating one's own soul. The inventor of this manual had to have been a genius, but she was born on this earth deprecated of spirit Qi, so she could only write out the cultivation method up till the Qi gathering tertiary stage. But her cultivation method was understood as men having to devour women's essence in order to cultivate. What was this? TL note. Essence equals pretty much virgin Qi, taking a woman's virginity while cultivating a special cultivation method which devours the essence. Yemo closed the book and sighed. This was a treasure gone to waste. He dumped it in front of Nya Shuang. It would be Yuo to her own fortune to see if she could understand it. If she couldn't, then even if he taught her, her progress wouldn't be high in the future. Putting it down, Yemo scanned Nya Shuang and ignored her afterwards. He stood on his flying sword and left. Not long after Yemo left, Nya Shuang woke up. She noticed that she was laying on the ground and was shook. She checked her clothes and saw that they hadn't been touched. Finally, she felt relieved yet also confused. Did Nyapai not rape her? It took a moment for her to see Nyapai's body, which was split in half. Nya Shuang stood up in horror. Why was she still fine when Nie Pai had been killed? Who had saved her? Nie Shuang was dazed for a few seconds before seeing the bag on the ground. She opened it and found a jade jewel and the 9-moon evergreen chant. She immediately realized that someone had saved her and didn't take the thing. Who was it? Thag was so generous. Both items were invaluable. Who could have dumped it like grass? Had Yemo come again? Nie Shuang immediately thought of Yemo, and with great sadness realized that other than Yemo, she didn't have a single real friend. Nie Shuang dumped Nie Pai's body and left as fast as she could. She wasn't the only person who knew about the sect. Yemo found the place that the man had drawn for him, but it had no clues left anymore. Sichuan's Mount Qingshao was where one of the origins of Chinese Taoism lay. The tallest peak, Peak Lao Jun, was 2,363 meters above sea level. It wasn't as beautiful as Mount Qingcheng, so it wasn't as famous. Nevertheless, it still became one of China's protected areas 20 years ago. This place was steep and lacking spirit qi, so Yemo really didn't know why the Broken Fist Hall had chosen this place to establish their sect. Still, Yemo had come to find Zhang Zhihui today, so he had to go see their sect. Yemo only spent a little more than 10 minutes to find the sect. This sect was located in the mountains. Yemo couldn't help but commend the ancients for building this place on this steep mountain. There were cliffs everywhere. On the top of the mountain, one could read the 3 blurry words Broken Fist Hall, showing its past glory. Yemo walked in. It was very quiet inside. Yemo sighed. It seemed that Zhang Zhihui had agreed to his words and annihilated everyone here, but he had never returned. Yemo pushed open the front door to the main hall, and there was a loud creak which seemed eerily dominant in the middle of this silence. All the chairs were covered in dust. Yemo scanned outwards with his spirit sense, and there was no one around as expected, but when his eyes fell on the painting of the Broken Fist Hall's ancestor, his eyes went cold. A dried human head covered in dust was sitting in the middle of the candle table. This head was Zhang Zhihui's head. Zhang Zhihui was killed and his head was here? Was there someone in the Broken Fist Hall stronger than Zhang Zhihui? Yemo took down the head and in his rage, he kicked the drawing and shattered the tables. Afterwards, Yemo found a good spot and buried the head, before making an epitaph which said, "Brother Zhang, you died for my sake, thus I shall avenge you." Then, Yemo suddenly came to realization. Zhang Zhihui had definitely annihilated the Broken Fist Hall, but if he was still killed afterwards, wouldn't that last survivor target the Zhang family as well as Flowing Snake? If the person who killed Zhang Zhihui wasn't from the Broken Fist Hall, why would he put Zhang Zhihui's head there? Concluding this, Yemo couldn't stay here anymore. He felt like there was something he'd missed, but wasn't able to think of what it could be. Yemo was pretty certain that his guess would be right. If the Broken Fist Hall really did have such a master, he would definitely try to get revenge. Even if he couldn't find out that Yemo had his base of power in Flowing Snake, he would go to the Beijing Yi family. Yemo was pretty certain that his guess would be right. If the Broken Fist Hall really did have such a master, he would definitely try to get revenge. Even if he couldn't find out that Yemo had his base of power in Flowing Snake, he would go to the Beijing Yi family. Even if he didn't, he would definitely go to the Xinjiang family. Yet he hadn't gone to find him nor the Zhang family. This was strange. Someone who could kill Zhang Zhihui had to be at least at the latter Earth level stage. This kind of person shouldn't be afraid of him. Yemo believed that what happened in Diansong couldn't have spread out. At most, some people maybe knew that he'd killed multiple Earth level middle stage and primary stage He-Lu sect members. Before Yemo left, he really wanted to burn this place down. But because it must have been hard for the ancients to build this place, he didn't do it in the end. Although he had no idea who might have killed Zhang Zhihui, Yemo still called Suyuehua to tell her about it so that she could be on alert. Before Yemo could dial the number though, his phone rung. Yemo frowned. Normal numbers couldn't dial him, so who was this? President. The call has gone through. Somewhere in a high-level mansion in Beijing, a caller grabbed the phone in excitement. What? I'm coming. I'm coming. Almost instantly, Han Zixin rushed to the phone and grabbed it. Old brother Yi, your phone is really hard to reach. I told these dialers to call your phone constantly 24/7 for more than 10 hours to finally reach you. Ha! But it's my luck that I could reach you at all. Han Zixin's cheerful laughter sounded. Yimo was speechless. This Han Zixin really had his ways. The first time when he was in Hong Kong, he called for a few days non-stop. And now, as soon as he took out his phone, it was reached again. Elder Han, what's up this time? Yimo asked speechlessly. He was so busy now that he couldn't even deal with his own things and cultivate. He really didn't want any further matters to deal with. Han Zixin laughed awkwardly. Sorry, I really need your help this time. Your stay in Beijing last time was really short. So, I was thinking, Yimo quickly stopped him and said, Old Han, it's not your style to stutter. If there is something up, just say it. Han Zixin said, I really desperately need your help. Can you come to Beijing? It's hard to talk on the phone. Yimo fell silent for a couple of seconds and said, Okay, wait for me. I'll come over in the afternoon. Han Zixin wasn't a bad person, and he had helped him many times. Even when the Heaven Squad were looking for trouble with him, Han Zixin still stood on his side. Now that he was in desperate need of help, Yimo had to help. Yimo wanted to go to Ninghai and take his sister, Tang Beiwei, to Flowing Snake and cultivate there for a while before going to the inner hidden sects, but now, it seemed he could only go to Beijing. Yimo called Su Yuehua first before heading to Beijing. Although Yimo didn't know why Han Zixin needed him, Yimo knew that Han Zixin knew what was or wasn't appropriate. He wouldn't trouble him with some small things even if he had helped him. Han Zixin didn't expect Yimo to come this quick. He had only called an hour ago, yet Yimo was already in his house. What made him depressed was that every time Yimo came, his guards seemed to be just for show. Can't you just knock the door? Are you having an affair in daylight? Yimo asked confusedly and started to study Han Zixin up and down. You're having an affair. Han Zixin's face went black. He was a supreme general, yet now, he was being questioned whether he was having an affair. That's right, since you aren't, and since you're the one who called me, why care about some complicated gestures? Tell me, why did you call me here today? Hearing this, Han Zixin smiled brightly, making Yimo doubt whether he wasn't perhaps an actor. Yenner, go help me make Brother Yi some tea. Use the premium-grade Westlake Dragonwell tea the old bandit gave me last time. Han Zixin quickly pulled a chair for Yimo to sit on. Yimo sat down and said, Old Han, don't worry about that tea for now. Tell me why you need me first. You know that I've been really busy lately. I was just in Sichuan before then coming over. Han Zixin's face went black. Yimo was talking nonsense. 1 hour from Sichuan to Beijing? Who was he tricking? Even if Yimo went by plane, it would be more than 1 hour. But Han Zixin wouldn't share these thoughts out loud, so he said with a smile, Brother Yi, you know that all I have is this precious granddaughter Han Yin of mine. This time, I need you to help her a bit. Brother Yi, please have some tea. Han Yin made a warm cup of Dragonwell, and the aroma was good indeed. Yimo looked at Han Yin in surprise and said, Brother Han, your granddaughter seems very well. What does she need my help for? Han Yin heard this and seemed to want to say something, but eventually didn't. In the past, she wouldn't even have cared about Yimo's words, but now she knew he was someone very powerful. Han Zixin sighed and said, I'm sure, brother, that you know about the hidden sects, but have you heard of the hidden sect tournament? Hidden sect tournament? Yimo had heard about it more than once. There was one every 3 years. Last time when he met Imokong, he said that it had been changed to once every 5 years, and that the location had changed to some city. What did this have to do with Han Yin? Thinking about this, Yimo said subconsciously, Of course I do, but hasn't it passed already? Passed? Who said so? Han Yin looked at Yimo strangely. Yimo felt his nose awkwardly. I don't know, maybe I heard wrong. I knew you would know about it. Han Zixin clapped his hands and laughed. Han Zixin continued, Han Yin is representing her sect for this tournament, and I want you to help. You want me to instruct her? Yimo studied Han Yin. Her power was a bit too low. Yellow level tertiary stage. Was the standard this low? Han Zixin stood up excitedly and said, If you could instruct her, then that would be even better. Yimo waved his hand helplessly. I cultivate different techniques from her, so no point in instructing her. Tell me, How else can I help? Although his relationship with Han Zixin wasn't bad, he didn't have that much qi-increasing pills, so unless Han Zixin mentioned it himself, he wouldn't use them. Hearing this, Han Zixin wore a disappointed look, but that face immediately faded. He said fervently, Yenner's sect is called the Guanghan sect. It's a very small sect. Although it's an outer hidden sect, it ranks at the very bottom. A sect like hers can only come to the tournament once every 3 times, which is 9 years. Now that it's 5 years in between every tournament, Guanghan sect can only come every 2 times. Each time, they only have 1 spot. Yimo frowned. If it's that prejudice, then why go? Han Yin smiled bitterly, because the prize is very good each time. If you can enter the top 30, you get a Black Rising pill and a 500 million reward. The top 10 win those, and an Earth-level cultivation method on top. The top 3 can enter a spirit pond to cultivate in for 3 months. It's said that 1 month in there is more efficient than 1 year on the outside. Other than this, everyone gets a pill to reach the Earth level. This isn't even the main thing. The main thing is a secret reward that the top 30 all have a chance of getting. Yimo thought, could that be a spirit well? If it was, then no matter how powerful the hidden sects were, he would be taking it for himself. As for the other rewards, they didn't interest Yimo. In fact, what I want the most is the top quality Black Rising pill. I don't even hope for the top 10, Han Yin said. In that case, why don't you just go compete? What can I help you with? Yimo asked strangely. Han Yin said with some embarrassment, because during the tournament period, there have been frequent cases of killing before the tournament. So each sect sends a master to protect the contestant. We don't have a master in our sect, and my master is still recovering from her failure to reach the Earth level. So you want me to protect you? Yimo asked. Han Zixin rubbed his hand awkwardly. Brother Yi, Yenner is my only granddaughter. If something happens to her, I won't be able to handle it. It was my idea, she didn't want to trouble you. But since we've had a good relationship so far, Han Zixin rubbed his hand awkwardly. Brother Yi, Yenner is my only granddaughter. If something happens to her, I won't be able to handle it. It was my idea, she didn't want to trouble you. But since we've had a good relationship so far, Yimo stopped Han Zixin. If Han Yin hadn't mentioned the spirit pond cultivation thing, he would have rather given 1 or 2 pills to Han Yin. These pills would be much more reliable than the Black Rising pill. But Yimo suspected that the spirit pond was a spirit well, and he wanted to go see it. Yimo immediately nodded. How long till the tournament, and where is it at? Do the participants have to fulfill any requirements? Han Yin at once replied, it's in 3 days at Broken Hill Peak in the Ghost City. Participants must be under 30 and have their own identity jade card. Then, Han Yin took out hers, which was a small card made with white jade. Okay, I agree. In 3 days, I will be waiting for you at the Shiyu Hotel in the Ghost City. Yimo quickly agreed. Yimo knew about the Ghost City. Its real name was Guicheng City, but people were accustomed to calling it the Ghost City. He had been there before when he was searching for Luoying, so he knew about it. It was famous nationally and abroad. It attracted large amounts of tourists. But a few years ago, when some people claimed that it was haunted, newcomers started to decline. Although there weren't as many people as before, most people who went there nowadays had some power. Some were monks or Taoists, others were from the hidden sections. The Shiyu Hotel was the biggest hotel of the city. He had stayed there last time. Yimo also knew the boss since the hotel used to be haunted. He was a nice person, so Yimo gave him a magic 8 trigram plate to him for defense. Because the power of the magic artifact was much stronger than those runes and charms the monks and Taoists had given him, the boss respected Yimo greatly. Brother Yi, will you manage to book a room at Shiyu Hotel? Han Yin asked with surprise joyfully. What's wrong? Shiyu Hotel is a place where people usually stay at. Why wouldn't I get a spot? Yimo asked strangely. Han Yin's joy disappeared. She replied in disappointment. Because of the hidden sects tournament, you can't even book a room there. They are fully booked because of the sections. Not even government workers can get a room, so you won't be able to get one now. Yimo smiled. Other people might not, but that doesn't mean I can't. Just make sure to meet me there. Yimo trusted that the hotel's boss would be able to get him a room. Han Yin looked dubiously at Emo, wondering if he was telling the truth. But Emo's face was calm, and she couldn't see any doubt. Han Zixin put on a serious expression and said, "I'll leave Yenner to you, old brother Yi. But I called you here today for an even more important matter." Seeing Emo look at him with confusion, Han Zixin sighed. "You know about last time's data report, right? It was about the space flower blueprint. You actually only gave a small part of it to Li Hu. This blueprint is very significant. Up until now, our researchers still can't understand what sort of genius could design it." Han Yin also looked at her grandpa strangely. "Grandpa, it's amazing, but it can't be that great. Is it better than a spaceship?" Han Zixin had a very serious expression. If the space flower gets developed, a spaceship would be a broken wooden ship next to it. The space flower blueprint really allows the possibility of a marine and air-based weaponry. It's power-efficient, fast, evasive, and easy to control. If the space flower is really built, it can destroy a country easily. Of course, I'm talking about a scenario in our current situation. When the radar systems become more advanced, not even the space flower will be able to go undetected. But the space flower can also constantly improve. Emo asked confusedly, "Is it really that strong?" Han Zixin's expression became even more serious. "The space flower blueprint is a blueprint that will begin a new era, but we only control a part of it. We still haven't built its energy source, mobility systems, nor cloaking technology. The person who designed it is not just a genius, he's a genius of the universe. I've never seen someone with this much knowledge." Hearing this, Emo also thought about it thoroughly. Could someone that amazing really exist on Earth? Or was that person also a transmigrator who came from a technological civilization like him? Han Zixin continued, "The blueprint probably comes from the Northern Sand. This organization is very mysterious. They've been gathering the talents of different countries. According to our intelligence, more than 10 countries know about the blueprint, and this is because the US accidentally spilled it. These countries all want the blueprint. If this blueprint is taken away, it won't benefit our country in any way. If it's taken by the US or a European country, it wouldn't matter that much. They need to maintain their face, but if it's a country like Japan, it would be a disaster for the world." Emo nodded. "I know. I promised to help you find it last time, but I've been really busy. I haven't had the time." Han Zixin immediately looked happy and said, "You aren't to be blamed. If one could get it that easily, it wouldn't be something desired by the whole world. Since the US brought up the plan to steal it, they should be taking more the initiative, but for some reason, they've been dealing with something in the Pacific. I don't know what's going on." Of course, Emo knew why the US had been messing around with something in the Pacific. They were looking for the Black Sun Empire. The US wouldn't let such a threat slide. The HQ of Northern Sand is very well hidden. There are many, but no one has been able to find one up until now. Even if they did, they wouldn't dare scare them, or the blueprint would never touch the surface again. I presume the US knows about 1 or 2 bases, but they would never make public such info, Han Zixin said worriedly. Emo wondered about if he could get the blueprint, whether he could sell it for a lot of money and use that money to buy land. Thinking about this, Emo realized that perhaps he needed to find that blueprint. And one more thing, if that blueprint was really that good, could he take it for himself? He wouldn't have a proper army for his land, but if he had that war machine, he could protect his city before he actually reached a certain power level. Emo first intended to negotiate with Han Zixin for his help with solving Emo's territorial problem if he managed to get the blueprint for him. Now, however, Emo changed his mind, because if the blueprint was really that good, why should he trade with Han Zixin? He could just keep it for himself. Emo first intended to negotiate with Han Zixin for his help with solving Emo's territorial problem if he managed to get the blueprint for him. Now, however, Emo changed his mind, because if the blueprint was really that good, why should he trade with Han Zixin? He could just keep it for himself. Leaving Han Zixin's place, Emo went straight to Ninghai, since he wanted to bring his sister, Tang Beiwei, to Flowing Snake. "Brother." Tang Beiwei just came back home when she saw Emo standing in the garden. She was really happy to see her brother. Yimo saw that Tang Beiwei had reached the stage 2 middle level, and so was also happy. He saw the plastic bags in her hands and asked, "You went out shopping?" Tang Beiwei blushed and nodded. She then changed the topic, "Brother, go inside and look around. I've changed that flower pot a bit." Yimo followed her in. The current flower pot was bigger, and the silver heart grass was growing well. She must have spent quite a lot of time on it. "Beiwei, you also moved the purple heart vine in?" Yimo also saw the purple heart vine beside it. Tang Beiwei smiled and said, "Yep, what do you think? I was going to move the blue flower blue leaf grass over too, but you said it needed a formation, so I didn't touch it." Yimo couldn't help but pat her head and mutter, "Really growing beautifully. Brother, are you saying that I'm growing beautiful, or the grass?" Tang Beiwei smiled cheekily. Yimo had known her for some time, but never knew that she had this side to her. He touched his nose and said, "Both." Pausing for a moment, Yimo said, "Beiwei, you probably know that Luoyu is my property, right? I came here to take you along to Flowing Snake. I'm worried about you living here by yourself." Yimo was happy that Tang Beiwei had brightened up. She had been depressed ever since Tang Jing died. Brightening up was nothing but good for the sake of her cultivation. Although Tang Beiwei once mentioned how she liked the peace and quiet, a girl just over 20 staying with a bunch of old nuns every day worried Yimo a bit, because that was simply too depressing. Luoying was better off, because she was cultivating the tranquility cultivation method, but Tang Beiwei was just cultivating what Yimo taught her. As soon as Yimo finished speaking, Tang Beiwei exclaimed in joy, "Brother, is Luoyu really yours? I knew that you had something to do with that company, but I didn't expect it to be real. My brother is super rich now. You little treasure hunter, let's go to Flowing Snake together. I'll let you count money every single day." Yimo petted Tang Beiwei's hair. What Yimo didn't expect was that Tang Beiwei would fall silent for a while and then say, "Brother, you know I like peaceful life. Serenity was good, and my mother was there too, but sometimes I would think about you. So I left. This place is very good, and you even lived here before, so I like it." "Stupid girl, don't be like those boring nuns. You'll be marrying someone in the future. Besides, it's too lonely for you to live here." As Yimo witnessed Tang Beiwei's change, he was very happy. Tang Beiwei pouted her lips and murmured, "I'm not marrying anyone. Also, I'm not always alone. Jingwen moved over to live with me. Sister Yunbing and Ting Ting often come over too." "Su Jingwen?" Yimo immediately said, "Isn't her house in Ninghai? Why would she move here then? Where is she?" "Jingwen really likes this place, and since I was lonely living here by myself anyway, she moved over. There was a reporter interviewing her today, so she dashed before Tang Beiwei could finish her sentence. Su Jingwen came walking in with a bag. "Huh, Yimo, you're back?" Su Jingwen stood dazed as she saw Yimo talking to Tang Beiwei. Yimo smiled and said, "Jingwen, long time no see." "Yes, it's been long indeed." Su Jingwen had always been wanting to see Yimo, but now that she finally did, she realized that she had nothing to say. Tang Beiwei saw that the atmosphere was a little awkward, so she quickly brought out a few chairs. "Sister Jingwen, what did the reporter interview you about?" Tang Beiwei broke the awkwardness. Su Jingwen glanced at Yimo and said, "The reporter is my friend, Xiao Lei. Yimo also knows her. She wanted to interview my dad, but he wasn't around, so she interviewed me. It's about my uncle, Su Hong, who used to be a mayor at Shitong but was framed and was said to have committed suicide. The truth came to light, and Xiao Lei wants to do a special report just on him." Yimo didn't expect this relationship. From the eyes with which Su Jingwen looked at him, Yimo knew that Xiao Lei must have told her everything he had done. After a while, Su Jingwen opened up and became more casual. "Yimo, the Luoyu and Flowing Snake is yours?" Su Jingwen suddenly asked. She immediately realized, though, that if Luoyu wasn't Yimo's, how could Fei Yu have been chosen? This was obvious. "Brother, you're really amazing. I saw the news too. That Yuan Bei Corporation is really shameless, such hypocrites. By the way, brother, do you have any more of those face-preserving pills? Give one to Sister Jingwen. The beauty pill she bought is really expensive." Tang Beiwei only realized after speaking that her words hadn't been very suitable. If the beauty pill was already that expensive, Wouldn't the face-preserving pill be even more expensive? She had one before and knew how good it was. But what she didn't know was that the face-preserving pill was on a whole different level. If she understood it properly, she probably wouldn't say such words. Yemo felt a little awkward. He did have quite a bit, but he was waiting for them to increase in value. Last time, he told Emokong to only sell a few. After a few years pass and everyone knows its value, it won't be selling for just a few $100 million. Now that his sister asked, he was put in a tough spot. With their relationship, it wasn't over the top to give something as expensive as this. Su Jingwen saw Yemo's awkward face and felt a little sad. She knew that it wasn't cheap, but no matter how expensive it was, with Yemo's current worth, he wouldn't mind. What she cared about wasn't the pill, but Yemo's attitude. Yemo's spirit sense immediately picked up Su Jingwen's expression. Remembering how she'd helped him before and how they were friends, he quickly took one out and gave it to Su Jingwen. This thing is similar to the beauty pill. You can have one. Haha, if Beiwei hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have even thought of it. Su Jingwen took the pill feeling very happy. She cared not about the pill, but the fact that Yemo was willing to give her one. It meant that he gave her special treatment. There was a faint, fresh aroma coming from the pill. Su Jingwen immediately knew that this wasn't something the beauty pill could compare with. Perhaps it was worth hundreds of thousands. If she knew that even if she sold her company, she might not be able to buy it, she wouldn't be able to stay so calm. Yemo quickly said, "Hurry up and eat it. If you don't, it will lose its potency." Hearing this, she immediately put the pill in her mouth. What surprised her was that it melted in her mouth immediately. After a moment, she felt there seemed to be something changing in her body and there seemed to be things seeping out of her skin. Just when she was feeling unsure, Tang Beiwei said, "After you eat the pill, there will be impurities pushed out of your body. Go take a shower." After Su Jingwen left, Tang Beiwei said in a small voice, "Brother, was I a bit too rash? That pill must be very expensive." They weren't just expensive, they were absurdly priced. But in order to not cause her any mental burden, Yemo only patted her hands and said, "Nah, I have a lot of these, but just don't do it again." They weren't just expensive, they were absurdly priced. But in order to not cause her any mental burden, Yemo only patted her hands and said, "Nah, I have a lot of these, but just don't do it again." Oh, Tang Beiwei glanced at Yemo. She knew he wasn't telling the truth, Yemo, and Tang Beiwei chatted for a long time before Su Jingwen walked in. She couldn't believe the effects of the pill. She had had the beauty pill before, but compared to the face-preserving pill, it was nothing. The pill made her skin smooth like jade, and all of minor imperfections on her face were gone. That pill couldn't be cheap. It explained why Beiwei's skin was so admiring. She took that pill too. "Sister Jingwen, you were already very pretty, but now you're like a goddess," Tang Beiwei said exaggeratedly and walked up to her. Su Jingwen glanced at Yemo, but she didn't thank him. She knew that the pill must be absurdly expensive. It wasn't for sale in the market yet, which meant that it couldn't be mass-produced. "Yemo, are you busy these days? My mother wants to see you once, but she hasn't gotten the chance yet." Su Jingwen looked expectantly at Yemo. Yemo hesitated and said, "I will be staying here for 2 days. I can go to your house once. Also, I am busy for the next 2 weeks, but afterwards I have a free month." "Okay, then the beginning of next month I'll wait for you at my house," Su Jingwen quickly said. "I'm free tomorrow and the day after." "Why next month?" Yemo asked curiously. Tang Beiwei pulled Yemo's hand and said, "If she says that, it must mean that her mom isn't at home." "Brother, you're a wealthy landlord now. We should go to the biggest restaurant in town tonight. Pity that Sister Yunbing went to Beijing, otherwise she could join us too." Yemo didn't mind. He said, "Okay, let's go." Yemo spent the next 2 days with Tang Beiwei, and he didn't bring up going to Flowing Snake again. If she wanted to live there, Yemo would let her be. In these 2 days, Yemo not only taught her fireball magic, but also wind control. During this time, Yemo, Tang Beiwei, and Su Jingwen played around the entire region of Ninghai. These were the happiest 2 days of Tang Beiwei's life. Yemo rarely had so much time to come and play with her. After 2 days, even though Su Jingwen and Tang Beiwei had unwilling eyes, Yimo left Ning high. Beiwei, you're really lucky. Your brother is a very capable person. He's truthful and hasn't indulged himself in hubris. He's a real man. Su Jingwen was looking at Yimo's back disappear in the distance and said what she thought from the heart. Only after that did she realize her words were a little awkward. She blushed and wanted to find a way to explain it. But Tang Beiwei was also looking into the distance and subconsciously answered, "The fact that he is my brother makes me the happiest, but also the unhappiest." Su Jingwen looked at Tang Beiwei and immediately understood. Tang Beiwei had never seen Yimo after she had matured. Furthermore, Yimo cared a lot for her, so no wonder she was very dependent of him. Thinking about this, Su Jingwen sighed. Even if Yimo wasn't Beiwei's brother, she had no chance. Su Jingwen and Tang Beiwei stood in the middle of the road without moving and looking into the distance. Shiyu Hotel was the only five-star hotel in Guicheng City because the building hadn't been haunted in the past half a year. This was very rare in the ghost city. Other hotels would have it once or twice a year. In serious cases, people would die. In lighter cases, people would have to stay in the hospital for half a month. Many hotel owners had started to leave the ghost city, but Shiyu Hotel's business was growing. Other people didn't know why, but its boss, Wang Xiye, knew all too well. It was due to the defense artifact Yimo had given him. Wang Xiye knew there were a lot of hidden masters in this world. Although the government had only vaguely hinted what was happening, he knew this tournament wasn't like the usual. Many people of the upper class were coming. More importantly, even these people didn't get a chance to stay at the Shiyu Hotel. He could immediately tell this tournament was extraordinary. What is more, these upper-class people would come there respectfully every day to visit the people staying in it. Sometimes, they would wait for a whole day, but they didn't get impetuous at all. Hence, he ordered all the waiters in the hotel not to offend anyone, even if it was someone who seemed insignificant. Otherwise, they had to be responsible for the consequences. But now Wang Xiye was in trouble. He didn't want to offend anyone, but the people in the hotel were fighting and he couldn't do anything about it. Someone wanted to stay there, but because there were no more rooms, the person didn't leave and offended a guest. Now, they were fighting. Han Yin was annoyed. She had come to the hotel like Yimo had told her and asked the waiter for Yimo's room, but she couldn't find someone called Yimo in the system. This made Han Yin feel very embarrassed. Many people were looking at her with weird glances. "Are you from the Guanghan sect?" Just when Han Yin didn't know what to do, a man in his 20s approached her and asked nonchalantly. Han Yin relaxed. It was easy to see it, as she wore the clothes of her sect. "Yes," Han Yin replied respectfully. The man said seriously, "Little girl, do you think a nobody from the Guanghan sect can get a room at Shiyu Hotel? Are you dreaming? Sai, it doesn't even matter if your sect came or not. Why suffer for your face?" Seeing this man's serious expression, everyone laughed. Han Yin's blushed, but she didn't dare talk back. That person was from the Xia family. Although she didn't go out a lot, she could recognize him from his clothes. Although the Xia family wasn't one of the 6 great sects, they were just below them. Guanghan sect was indeed a nobody to them. Han Yin knew that if she made them angry, her sect and even the Han family might get involved. "Brother Xia is right. You can come live in my room. My room is very big." Hee. "Although you're average looking, I don't mind." Someone in the audience smirked. There was another round of laughter. People in the hidden sects were always cultivating and rarely came out. They had no empathy. They had been taught that power was everything. No one would care about a weakling like Guanghan sect. F*CK your bullsh**. T. Why don't you go back and sleep with your mom? Han Yin finally burst out. She had always been treated with respect. Since when did she accept to be humiliated like this? B**T. You must not want to live. The man's face went cold and dashed in front of Han Yin to slap her. Han Yin was a yellow-level ladder stage warrior, but this man was at the yellow-level peak stage. With him attacking unexpectedly, Han Yin wasn't able to dodge it. Han Yin was a yellow-level ladder stage warrior, but this man was at the yellow-level peak stage. With him attacking unexpectedly, Han Yin wasn't able to dodge it. Slap, Han Yin was hit spot on. Han Yin could no longer control the anger in her heart. Since when had she been treated like this? She didn't even think before pulling the sword from her bag and thrusting it towards her attacker. You want to fight? Very well, Big Brother will play with ya. This man swiped his waist, and a soft sword appeared in his hand. Ding ding, after just 2 strikes Han Yin's sword was hacked to pieces, after which the man kicked at Han Yin without mercy. If Han Yin were still cool-headed, this kick might not have landed, but she had lost her clarity of mind. She just wanted to kill this guy who'd insulted her, but the more she was like that, the more the man would gain the upper hand. The guy kicked Han Yan's leg as she flew meters away onto the floor, incapable of any resistance. Han Yin was stunned. The man then walked up and sneered, "Do you believe that if I step down once more, your other leg will also break?" Han Yin gritted her teeth and stared at the man in anger without saying anything. "I don't," a cold voice replied for Han Yin. The man was dazed and looked at Emo, who wore an ice-cold expression on his face. "Who the hell do you think you are to be acting against me?" People around were getting more excited as they saw the fight heating up. Emo ignored the man and connected Han Yan's broken leg before giving her a pill. Then, he helped her up and apologized guiltily. "Sorry, I came late." As Han Yin saw that Emo had come, she finally couldn't hold the grief in her heart and fell into Emo's arms, crying. She knew it would be very chaotic at the time of the tournament, but she didn't expect this to happen. There was not a single bit of sympathy in this world at all. Emo held her and saw the palm print on her face. He inquired coldly, "Who hit your face?" Before Han Yin could reply, the man cockily said, "Your grandpa." "I did. If you've got the balls, why don't you come hit me? If you don't, then slap yourself and roll the hell out of here." People laughed yet again, but this time, the laughter was obviously less. Many people had noticed how Emo reconnected Han Yan's obviously broken bone like it was nothing. Even in the hospital, it'd take a month to barely be able to walk. Yet this man just reconnected it in a moment and gave her a pill. And now, she could already walk. This was too absurd. Emo sneered and dashed forward in a single step. He appeared in front of the guy's face in a blink and slapped him twice, quickly going on to kicking his chest. Before anyone could react, Emo's leg connected to the man's stomach. He took more than 10 steps back and spat out a mouthful of blood, ending up seated on the ground as his face was covered in blood. Emo walked over slowly and stepped down. There was the ghastly sound of bones getting crushed. Emo pulverized this man's leg. The scene was silent now. When the man bullied Han Yin, they thought it was funny, but now seeing Emo crush this man's leg, no one felt amused. They felt cold. Who was this guy as to be so cruel? No one stood out to help this man, just like when Han Yin had been getting abused. Wang Xia, who was still upstairs, didn't dare to come down for a look. He was scared of getting caught in the crossfire. "I'm Jin Sex Feng Nan." You can't add a dash before the man was able to finish speaking. Emo already stamped down on his other leg and then stomped on his chest. Even more bones cracked this time, astonishing everyone with his cruelty. Feng Nan no longer had the power to talk. His head slumped down, but no one dared to help him. Han Yin had calmed down now and quickly told Emo to come over. Emo didn't know about the Yijian sect, but she did. It was a sect in no way inferior to the Xia family. Her Guanghan sect couldn't mess with this sect either. "Brother Yi, let's go." Han Yin grabbed Emo's arm and said worriedly. She glanced at Feng Nan subconsciously. Although the police didn't pass by there, nor would anyone call them, she was still worried that the guy was dead. Emo waved his hand. "We're staying here. How can we leave? Tell me, who else bullied you?" As soon as Emo said this, Xia Song subconsciously lowered his head. Emo was definitely black level or above. With Emo's cruelty, he would be beaten up like Feng and all the same. Xia Song wanted to call for the older generation of his sect, but no one was here. Han Yin didn't say anything, just looking at Xia Song, because everyone was looking at him anyway. Emo walked up and studied him coldly before saying, "You also attacked?" Xia Song shivered and no longer had the composure of when he looked down on Han Yin. He just uttered worriedly, "No, Qinbei, I didn't hit her." Seeing Emo's eyes get more and more intensive, Xiasong couldn't take it anymore and knelt down. Qianbei, have mercy, I really didn't hit her. I just jeered at her. I dash. Xiasong then started slapping his own face until there was blood. Yimo then said coldly, piss off, don't let me see you again. Yes, Qianbei, I will piss off immediately. Xiasong felt humiliated and angry, but he knew now wasn't the time to act up. He would need to be alive to get back at Yimo. Xiasong ignored everyone's contempt and ran into the elevator as he returned to his room. In his heart, though, Yimo was a dead man. A mere black level dared hit a Xia family member and almost beat Feng Nan to dead. The other two Yi Jian sect members carefully carried Feng Nan back into their rooms. They had to report to their masters in order to get revenge. Near the window, there were 3 people, 2 girls and 1 man, who had watched the whole event from start to finish. The girls wore beautiful accessories on their heads, and the man was also very handsome. He had a certain bourgeois temperament. This person is cruel and decisive, and he's at least at the black level tertiary stage. I wonder which sect he's from. But since he knows the Guang Han sect people, he probably isn't from some big sect. What a pity. When the Yi Jian sect and Xia family people come, the young man sighed and shook his head, obviously thinking that Yimo would be dead soon. Martial sister, have we seen this person before? I feel like he looks like that person. The younger one out of the 2 nuns suddenly asked. The older nun nodded. You're right. He's the masked man who went to the auction at Mount Wuliang. He's not to be messed with. Martial sisters, do you know him? The handsome man asked. The older nun nodded. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, this man went to the auction at Shixia Temple. You didn't go last time, but he killed the Long brothers all by himself, and it's said that the Earth-level lone wolf also died by his hands. He's a very strong man, martial brother sure. Avoid contact with him, because he's very murderous. Oh, he can kill the Long brothers and lone wolf? Is he Earth-level? But how is that possible? He's only in his 20s. I've never even heard of such thing, martial brother sure questioned in surprise. Shi Zhengji was himself a genius, being only 26 years old yet already at the black level tertiary stage. It could be said that no man could reach his level, yet this young man was even more absurd than him. Due to the huge difference between black and earth level, Shi Zhengji didn't think Yimo could kill Lone Wolf as black level. Interesting. Shi Zhengji looked at Yimo with interest. Although Han Yin really wanted to leave, Yimo still brought her to the front desk. Sorry, sir, there are no rooms left. The front desk girl had witnessed Yimo's rampage and was shaking. Yimo smiled. Tell your boss, Wang Xie, to come down. Tell him an old friend is here. Although the front desk staff really didn't want to do it, they didn't dare go against Yimo's words. They picked up the phone and called Wang Xie's office. Although the front desk staff really didn't want to do it, they didn't dare go against Yimo's words. They picked up the phone and called Wang Xie's office. Wang Xie had noticed that the noise had quieted down, so he finally was relaxed. But at that moment his phone rung. Usually, he wouldn't pick up these calls. He didn't want to hear it, in fear of the dissatisfaction of the people staying there. But he still picked it up, praying that it wasn't someone looking for trouble. President Wang, there's someone at the front desk saying he's an old friend of yours. He wants you to come downstairs, the front desk lady said with a little stutter. Oh, okay. I'll come downstairs immediately. Wang Xie hung up the phone with a bitter look. He didn't dare not to go. Yimo didn't have to wait for long before Wang Xie's round body came out of the elevator. May I ask which Qianbei is looking for me? I'm Wang Xie. Haha. Before Wang Xie got to them, they could already hear his laughter. No one could tell if he was really happy or faking it. It's me. Can't you recognize me? Yimo smiled. Huh. It's you, Brother Yi. It really is you. I've been hoping to see you for months, and you're finally here. Haha. Wang Xie finally relaxed. Yimo had only stayed at the hotel for a week. He was very capable, but wasn't cocky. He was very grateful to Yimo for the gift and didn't fear him. He knew Yimo was easy to get along and that he was a true master. Yimo saw that Wang Xie was truly happy, so he patted his shoulder smiling. I came here looking for a place to stay. Do you have any rooms left? Yes, of course, Wang Xie said without hesitation. Brother Yi, first let's go somewhere else. The front desk girl looked at her boss in shock. Boss, we have no more rooms in the hotel. She was afraid that her boss had forgotten. Haha, other people might not, but Brother Yi has a private suite in our hotel. It doesn't belong to the hotel, it belongs to Brother Yi. Wang Xie pulled Emo into the elevator. The people around them stared at Emo, who was already going up. That young man was so powerful. He only had mentioned himself once, and he had gotten a place to stay. Even more shockingly, he got a suite. After Emo had disappeared, the people in the lounge started to chatter. Since when do I have a private suite at your place? Emo asked confusedly. Wang Xie smiled cleverly. At any other moment, you can have as many rooms as you want, but these days I don't get to decide. I had predicted this would happen. Last time you left, I decided to build a suite on the 8th floor. This one is just for you. As I said, it doesn't belong to me. Come, I'll show you around. I hope you like it. I thought it would be unlikely for you to come again, but you actually did. It's truly an honor. Emo laughed and said, Thank you. If you have any troubles, just come ask me for help. I owe you one today. Wang Xie smiled. Brother Yi, look, you've already solved my biggest problem last time you were here. My hotel got to be recognized as a 5-star one in only half a year. I give you the credit. I only built a small suite. It's nothing compared. Wang Xie brought Emo to the top, and there was indeed a mansion-like suite. Not only did it have all sorts of flowers, the inside was also very clean. It was obvious that someone had been cleaning there every day. Such a pretty suite. Han Yen exclaimed. Not bad. Emo also casually complimented. The most important thing was that Wang Xie was a truly good manager. Although he hadn't known if he would come or not, he had prepared everything for him. It might have seemed simple to achieve for him, but his effort was appreciated. No wonder his hotel was the best in Ghost City. Han Yin walked around happily. She hadn't really expected Emo to be able to find such a great place to stay at. In her heart, her view of Yemo's capabilities had increased a lot too. Brother Yi, if you're happy, stay here. The waiters can come 24/7. As for food, you can choose whether you want to eat downstairs or get the waiters to bring it here. Wang Xie saw that Yemo was very happy with it, so he felt proud of what he had prepared a few months ago. Yemo had only been gone for a month when he had started building it. Now, it was put to use indeed. He also felt lucky. If he hadn't built it, Yemo would have no place to stay. He would have been dared to offend anyone staying there then. Boss Wang, I came just for you. I need some help. Just when they were talking, the elevator door opened again and a man with a huge beer belly walked in. Io, Mayor Wu, when did you arrive? If you need something, just give me a call. No need for you to come here personally. Wang Xie saw the man and quickly walked over to him with a hospitable smile. That man was Wu Yuan, the vice mayor of Guicheng City. He already knew why he had come. The man scanned Yemo and Han Yen and said, President Wang, your hotel really has brought honor to our city, but I really need your help today. I have a friend and he's also coming to the tournament, but he's arrived late and now has no place to sleep. And you know, if he stays somewhere else, he would lose face. So could you please get him a room in your hotel? There was only one 5-star hotel in the Ghost City, and most of the hidden sects people were staying there. If you stayed somewhere else, you would be losing face indeed. Wang Xie said with hardship, I'm really sorry, Mayor Wu, but as you know, I don't get to decide this. The man wasn't disappointed at Wang Xie's words at all. He kept smiling. I know this, of course. I wasn't asking you to empty a room, but I know you have an empty suite. How about letting my friend stay there? What do you think? Yemo's expression didn't change. He was waiting to see how Wang Xie would react, but Han Yan's expression changed. Yemo had already offended 2 sects. She didn't want to think what would happen if he offended one more. With these thoughts, Han Yin had a worried look and wanted to persuade Yemo to change to another hotel. Although Yemo was strong, he couldn't face that many people. Wang Xie didn't look troubled at all. He just laughed and said, It's no surprise that Mayor Wu asks me this. If this suite belonged to me, Mayor Wu could let anyone live in there, but it's Brother Ye's property. I just helped him build it. Brother Yi? Wu Yingyuan looked strangely at Yimo and Han Yin. Yimo smiled. He didn't want to make it hard for Wang Xia, so he said, "He's right. This suite is my property. Sorry." Yimo smiled. He didn't want to make it hard for Wang Xia, so he said, "He's right. This suite is my property. Sorry." Then that makes things easy. Even if you move out for a few days, the place will still be yours. Of course, my friend won't let you lose out. He's a hidden master too. Wu Yingyuan said. He thought that that would be the best way to do it. After all, he was a vice mayor. These two young people would agree to him immediately. From what Wu Yingyuan could see, Yimo looked pretty average. Although Han Yin had a good temperament, she wasn't some extreme beauty. She was probably just some relative of Wang Xi's. But what he didn't expect was that this young man would just scan him coldly and say, "Sorry, Mayor Wu, please leave for now. I still have some things to discuss with Boss Wang." Wu Yingyuan was being kicked out, which made him furious instantaneously. He had to be very tolerant these past few days, but now even a small young kid dared send him away? Boss Wang, I believe there are some things that young people don't fully understand, Wu Yingyuan said. He knew that Wang Xia was on good terms with everyone in the Ghost City and knew what sort of person he was. Wang Xia had a pained look on his face. He knew what Wu Yingyuan wanted. Yimo's face sunk, and he said plainly, "Did you not hear my words? I don't want to rent out my house. So are you a representative of the government or a robber?" Good, the young are brave. I'll relay his words exactly as he said them, but I believe Boss Wang can imagine the consequences. Then, this potbelly just up and left. Wang Xia had wanted to let Wu Yingyuan back off without offending him, but Yimo's way of doing things had forced him into a corner. Although Wang Xia knew that Yimo was a master with no fear of that master that Wu Yingyuan was talking about, after this, that Wu Yingyuan would be giving Wang Xia a hard time for sure. Yimo could guess Wang Xia's worry and patted his shoulder. "Boss Wang, don't worry, you won't be affected by this. What I'm curious about, though, is why I can't see any elders at the tournament." Wang Xia heard this, and although he didn't believe it quite well, he still answered. "According to the waiters, they went to a meeting to trade things, but I don't know the specifics." So that was it. Yimo finally understood. It was hard for these people of the hidden sects to gather so completely, so they were going to have a meeting exchanging things. If there was another auction, he might go take a look too. Thinking about this, Yimo gave a black bracelet to Wang Xia and said, "Thank you. I will consider you my friend. This defensive artifact is something I made in my spare time. It's yours now." Wang Xia took it with a face of joy and surprise. He knew that something Yimo would give had to be valuable. After he wore it, he immediately felt tough and sturdy and thanked Yimo. On top of that, Yimo said that he was his friend now, so he didn't even care about the matter of Wu Yingyuan. Worst comes to worst, he would just move to another city. Seeing Wang Xia leave, Han Yin said worriedly, "Brother Yi, the person you hit was from Yijian's sect, and the man who knelt down was from the Xia family. They are powers our sect can't handle. I'm afraid that this night." Yimo smiled and didn't answer her directly, saying instead, "Yes, your power is too low indeed. You're at the yellow level tertiary stage, and you haven't even fully consolidated it yet. If you go into the tournament like this, I think it'll be very hard." Han Yin blushed. She knew Yimo was speaking the truth. But this tournament was very important for her, and there was rarely anyone in the Guang Han sect who could reach yellow level tertiary stage before 30. She was already a genius by their standards. Yimo could tell what she was thinking from her face and said, "You gave me a 1,000-year lotus seed, and I told you then that I would give you a pill when I had the chance. Now, I'll give you 2 pills to choose from. One is a lotus life pill made from the seed. Another is the chi increasing pill." Seeing Han Yan's confusion, Yimo said, "The lotus life pill can cure any injury and even bring back the dead depending on the state of the brain. There's really such a precious pill?" Han Yin said dubiously, but didn't deny the existence of it. "If there really is such a precious pill, I would want it for sure. Can it cure even cancer?" Han Yin asked. Yimo nodded. "Theoretically, yes, but do you not want to know the use of the chi-increasing pill?" Han Yin immediately replied, "No matter how potent it is, It can't be as strong as the lotus life seed. Of course I want the lotus life seed. Yemo smiled and put two vase bottles on the table. The left is a lotus life pill. The right is a chi increasing pill. The chi increasing pill can make ancient martial artists go up 1 to 3 levels, depending on the person's talent. What? Wouldn't that be more powerful than the black rising pill? Han Yin was stunned for a long time before asking. If there really were such a pill, wouldn't there be tons of ancient martial artists? Yemo didn't say anything and waited for her to choose. Han Yin took the chi increasing pill without hesitation. Of course I want the chi increasing pill, but does it really have that effect? Yemo smiled. You will know after you eat it. Then, Yemo asked, do you know the power level of the people entering this tournament? Han Yin shook her head. I don't, but I know that there will be at least more than 10 black level geniuses. The rest should be at the yellow level tertiary or peak stage. Yemo nodded. With Han Yin's talent, this chi increasing pill should allow her to reach black level and get into the top 30. If he didn't give her the chi increasing pill, she would have a 90% chance of failing. Then, Han Yin looked at the chi increasing pill in her hands with obvious excitement. If this pill was real, she pretty much didn't need to go to the tournament. Her main purpose was to get a black rising pill. She really didn't care about that couple 100 million. Yemo saw that Han Yin just stood there with the pill in her hand. So he said, eat the pill first and then start cultivating. I'll get you a weapon. Han Yin listened to Yemo and ate the pill. The chi increasing pill melted in her mouth immediately and resolved into an intense, pure essence chi that charged at her meridians. She sat down and circulated her cultivation method to digest the pill. 3 hours later, Han Yin stood up in excitement. In a mere 3 hours, she had now reached the peak of the black level primary stage. She would only need a single special moment to reach the black level middle stage. The pill Yemo gave her was too absurd. How much would it be worth? She didn't even dare to imagine it. As Yemo came in and saw this, he praised. Not bad. You're at the peak of the black level primary stage now. It seems like you can get into the top 30 for sure. If you do well, you might even get into the top 10. Han Yin saw the impurities coming out of her body and quickly said, I'll go take a shower. Han Yin saw the impurities coming out of her body and quickly said, I'll go take a shower. Yemo didn't have to wait long for Han Yin to come out. She walked up to Yemo and said gratefully, Brother Yi, I'm really thankful to you for this. I know the pill must be very precious. If I get into the top 30, then the money reward dash. Yemo waved his hand. The pill is what I promised to give you. You don't need to thank me. I made a sword for you. Try it. Wear this wrist guard too. There are 3 sword moves that I made in my spare time. See if you can get familiar with it before the tournament. I can only help you this much. I'm going out tonight. If you need anything, just give me a call. Yemo had just given the thing to Han Yin when his expression changed drastically. His spirit sense could scan everywhere in this hotel, and at that moment he saw Wang Xie getting choked and slapped on the 3rd floor. You keep practicing here. I'm going out for a bit. Then, Yemo hurried downstairs. Before Han Yin could react, Yemo was gone. She looked at the long sword in her hands carefully. She hacked the table gently, and it sliced off a corner of the table as if it was tofu. Han Yin was dazed. What sword was that? The sword had a much higher caliber than the weapons in the extreme weapons vault. Meanwhile, in a big room of the 5th floor, the leader of the Xia family, Xia Changtian, sat at the top seat with a green face, hearing Xia Seng's exaggerated report. He and a few elders had just come back from a meeting, and they were going out again that night, but that had happened. Xia Changtian slapped on the tea table. How can he have such big balls? A mere Guang Han sect member and a black-level insect dare to mess with our Xia family. The sturdy Nan wooden tea table was smashed into pieces because of the hit. Xia Seng knelt on the ground, but there was coldness in his eyes. He knew that Yi Gai was dead meat. The family leader was furious. Xia Seng, you've lost face for our Xia family. When we get back, you will face the wall for a year, Xia Changtian reproached. At that moment, an elder sitting next to Xia Changtian intervened. Xia Seng, you said that young man was in his 20s and has black-level tertiary stage power? Xia Seng quickly replied, yes, Elder Ping. Shi Zhengji from Jiuming Academy said that Yi Gai is probably in black level tertiary stage. A black level tertiary stage master in his 20s? His surname is Yi? Hearing this, Xia Changtian murmured. Suddenly, his face changed drastically, and he glanced at the other elders. His expression turned bad. Yi Mo, Xia Changtian and Xia Peng said this name at the same time. After that, they were sure that young man was Yi Mo. Other than Yi Mo, who would have such power that even the hidden sect members didn't know. The main thing was that, who else would dare beat a Yi Jian sect disciple that badly? A shiver rose up from the back of Xia Changtian and Xia Peng. Although news of Yi Mo beating Dian Song until they had to seal their sect hadn't gotten out, there were some rumors about it. Even if it was fake, it was known that Yi Mo had decimated the He Lu sect, and that they had no choice but to seal their sects and hide. 2 of the 6 big hidden sects were forced to shut down by Yi Mo, and now an idiot from the Xia family had to mess with him. It's said that Yi Mo loved to annihilate sections. No matter how strong the Xia family was, they weren't as strong as one of the big 6. Furthermore, they knew something that others didn't. Their son-in-law, one of the 3 masters of the Hong martial sect, Earth-level middle stage Zhang Fengji, was killed by Yi Mo. After Yi Mo killed him, he helped Mo Kong to take Xiaorou. Despite this, the Hong martial sect didn't dare say anything. They even went to help Yi Mo make an announcement and compensated him for his losses. But the reason for this compensation was ridiculous. It was that these people had gone to Flowing Snake and hid in his property. Despite this, most of the people who went still brought something to apologize. His Xia family was one of them. From this, one could see Yi Mo's dominance over the hidden sections. It could be said that Yi Mo's name was a taboo for the hidden sections. Xia Changtian didn't know what the other 4 sects' attitude to Yi Mo was, but his Xia family didn't dare to mess with Yi Mo. They wanted to get on Yi Mo's good side, but it was all ruined because of the idiot Xia Song. If Yi Mo got pissed, their Xia family would be in trouble. Family leader, perhaps we can contact Ro and get Mo Kong to get his mercy. Xia Changtian was willing to sacrifice Xia Song if needed. Family leader, Xia Song still called out at the wrong moment. Piss off, you animal. Our Xia family will sooner or later be destroyed by trash like you. Xia Peng kicked him. Xia Song was sent thrown in the air while spitting blood, but he didn't dare say anything. He had heard of Yi Mo's power, but just didn't realize the person he had offended was Yi Mo. He was over. Xia Seng's heart sunk. He felt he was too unlucky. A random guy he messed with turned out to be Yi Mo. Immediately go see if Yi Mo is still in the hotel. If he is, notify me as soon as you know, Xia Changtian said decisively. He needed to get Yi Mo's forgiveness as quickly as possible. Family leader, Yi Jian sect leader, and teaching elder are here to visit, someone reported. Xia Changtian and Xia Peng immediately knew why they had come. They wanted the Xia family to join them in fighting Yi Mo. Xia Peng sneered. The Yi Jian sect didn't need them to deal with a mere black-level warrior. They didn't know who Yi Mo was, and if he had a good background, then they could drag the Xia family down with them. Please come in. The Yi Jian sect was no lesser than the Xia family. Xia Changtian didn't want to get on their bad side either. Xia brother, you got quite a catch today. A skinny man entered first. He saluted and smiled. Xia Changtian also saluted with his fist. Sect leader, you has also acquired quite a lot too. As soon as these few people sat down, the man Xia Changtian had sent rushed back in and said, Yi Mo just went to the 3rd floor into the boss office. Xia Changtian got up as soon as the man said this, and left quickly with Xia Peng. Before he left, he hurriedly said, Sect leader you, I have very important business to deal with, we will talk later. Seeing this, the sect leader and the elder thought it was strange and too rude. A mere family like the Xia family dared to act like that. He had come to visit them personally, but they left hurriedly. Even if he was going to see the sect leaders of the 6 big sects, he couldn't be like this. Sect leader, did he say Yi Mo? The elder had immediately heard this. The person who had beaten Feng Nan was also an ancient martial arts cultivator with the surname Yi. They immediately connected the dots and realized that the person who had beaten up Feng Nan was Yi Mo. When Yi Mo reached the 3rd floor, Wang Siye was already dumped in a corner. The person beating him was a man in his 30s, Yellow level tertiary stage. Yemo saw Wu Inyuan next to that man. He knew that this person was the master he had heard about. But Mayor Wu looked very respectful then. He didn't seem to notice that Wang Xie was getting beaten. You're very ballsy, Boss Wang. You dare give a room to that trash. I think you don't want to live. This young man kept swearing. He thought that Wang Xie should have given the room to him on first notice, but Wang Xie didn't, and he disrespected him. Young Master Pei, the person living at the top is him. Wu Yuan was the first to see Emo at the door. The young man stared coldly at Emo and swore, "Idiot, do you want a D-dash?" Young Master Pei just said half a sentence and stopped. His face had turned into horror. "She, sect leader Xia," he mumbled and bowed to the old man who had just walked in. But the two men didn't seem to see him and just walked to Emo. Before bowing, Xia family leader, Xia Changtian, together with Xia Pengri Yiqianbei. But the two men didn't seem to see him and just walked to Emo. Before bowing, Xia family leader, Xia Changtian, together with Xia Pengri Yiqianbei. Emo just nodded. He had seen this Xia Changtian at the auction in the temple. He had bought the blue flower blue leaf grass from him, but at the time, he was no match for Xia Changtian. Times change, however, and now, he was someone that Xia Changtian needed to look up to. Emo didn't talk to Xia Changtian and looked at the frozen young Master Pei and sneered. "I really want to see how you're going to make me die." I dash at this moment, young Master Pei was frozen. Why was the Xia family leader, Xia Changtian, disrespectful to this young man? If he had known this, he wouldn't have dared do anything at all. Although he didn't know who this young man was, he understood that he'd kicked a hard brick this time. Wu Yuan was full of cold sweat. He was much more experienced than that young Master Pei, but he didn't expect a friend Wang Xie knew to be this absurdly powerful. Yijian sect's Yu Tao greets Yiqianbei. My sect's disciple was disrespectful, hence I came here to ask for forgiveness. Before young Master Pei could say anything, another old man ran in. Another sect leader came to see this young man with such respect. Young Master Pei could no longer hold the terror in his heart. He was about to break down. God, who had he messed with? He felt his legs shaking, and at the same time, he hated Wu Yuan so much that he wanted to eat him. "You are Ping Jian sect's member?" Xia Changtian heard Yemo's words and suddenly turned around to young Master Pei asking a question. He knew that if the Xia family didn't act fast enough, the chance to prove themselves would be taken by Yu Tao. This young Master Pei shivered and stuttered, "Yes, Xiaqianbei. No. I Wu Yuan said that Boss Wang had a place for me to stay at but wasn't letting me. So I came to find Boss Wang dash." Before he finished his explanation, he felt a huge kick on his chest as he was sent flying out of the room. He spat blood in midair and slumped onto the ground. Emo used his spirit sense and knew that the guy's dantian was broken. Your Ping Jian sects Liang Qixing and Hua Kuming don't even dare disrespect Yiqianbei. You're quite bold, aren't you? Xiaopeng said. Emo looked coldly at Xiaopeng but didn't say anything. He felt like Hua Kuming was a familiar name, though and soon, he remembered the person. When he accompanied Luo Xian to get the Ni Luo Sutra, the one he saw then was that Hua Kuming. He was surprised to find out that he was from the hidden sections. At this moment, Yu Tao understood the situation too. He walked up to Wu Yuan and slapped him in the face. Just when Yu Tao was going to hit him some more, the elder before him said, "Sect leader, this person is the vice mayor of Gang." Wu Yuan felt abused, but he knew that there was nothing he could do. He regretted his actions greatly. "Haha, so you're a mayor. But my, how can someone like you become a mayor? Martial brother Yin, you deal with this. I don't think he deserves to be a mayor." Yu Tao stopped attacking him. There were still rules he needed to follow. Count the Xia family in. Xia Peng, you and brother Yin deal with this together. Xia Changtian didn't want to fall behind. Wu Yuan was dazed. He didn't expect that he would lose his position in the end. He comprehended the power of these hidden sect behemoths well. It was no joke if they said that he wasn't going to be a mayor anymore. "Yiqianbei, I was blind. Please have mercy on me." Wu Yuan knew that he needed to beg Emo for mercy. Emo looked coldly at Wu Yuan and said, "Piss off now. If you stay here a moment longer, then you won't get the chance to leave at all. Wu Yuan knew this wasn't a mere threat. Although he didn't know who Mo was, he had to be someone significant. Losing his job was better than losing his life. Thinking like this, he didn't dare speak anymore and just ran out. He wanted some support first and see if there was any chance of a comeback afterwards. When Wang Xie got up, he was confused. He knew Mo was a hidden master, but didn't expect him to be this influential. Even the powerhouse titans living here had to suck up to him. Mo watched as Wang Xie got up and knew that he didn't sustain any internal injuries. He looked at his empty wrist and asked speechlessly, "Old Wang, where is the bracelet I gave you?" Wang Xie said shamefully, "I tested it, and that bracelet indeed did have quite the defensive power, so I gave it to my son. I didn't expect this Wu Yuan to take action like this. He's a mayor, yet he brought some hoodlum to beat me." Mo couldn't blame him. He could only say, "If I have the time, I'll make you another one. I don't have any more on me." Yi Qianbei. Yu Tao saw that Mo finally turned around and said awkwardly. Mo nodded. He knew that they were sucking up to him for now, but in their world, whoever was stronger was the boss. The Xia family came because of Xia Sung, and this Yu Tao came for Feng Nan. He beat their people, yet they still came sucking up to him just because he was stronger than them. There was nothing to be grateful about. If he didn't have his current power, what would be waiting for him was a coffin. Yu Tao came to ask for forgiveness. "My sect disciple offended Qianbei. It's my fault." Yu Tao saw that Mo was willing to talk to him calmly and felt a little relieved. But before he finished, Mo stopped him. Mo looked at Yu Tao and Xia Changtian and said plainly, "I understand your intentions for coming, and this thing ends now. Wang Xie is my friend, so I hope your men don't cause trouble during your stay." "Yes, rest assured, Yi Qianbei. We will control our sect disciples and make Boss Wang happy," Yu Tao immediately said and finally felt assured. To him, it was the best possible outcome that Mo ended it now. He had heard too much about Mo's slaughterings. Wang Xie was dazed and felt emotional. It was because he made a friend like Mo that these titans had to restrict their disciples to make him happy. In the past, he had merely been the lowest in this hotel. It seemed like building Mo a suite here turned out to be his life's best decision. It was because of his actions that he managed to acquire Mo's friendship and get these titans' respect. Yi Qianbei, this is the jade card for entering the gathering tonight. If Yi Qianbei has the time, you can come and take a look. The location is King Qingguang's palace in the Go City. Xia Changtian knew this was the best time to suck up to Mo and took out his card without hesitation. He had 3 anyways. "Oh, thank you, sect leader Xia." Mo accepted the card. He was planning to go check it out at night anyways. Yu Tao saw that Mo had accepted the jade card and regretted not giving him one too. Why hadn't he thought of it? He also handed over one to Mo and said, "I also have one here. If Yi Qianbei needs somewhere to go, you can use it." Yu Tao saw that Mo had accepted the jade card and regretted not giving him one too. Why hadn't he thought of it? He also handed over one to Mo and said, "I also have one here. If Yi Qianbei needs somewhere to go, you can use it." Mo thought of Han Yin. It would be good to take her with him. Furthermore, if he didn't take the card, Yu Tao would worry that he hadn't forgiven him. Thinking about that, Mo took the card. Seeing Mo take the card, Xia Changtian and Yu Tao knew it was time for them to leave. Mo went back to find Han Yin. He was going to let her come with him and see, but she said she wanted to practice the 3 new moves. Mo thought about it and agreed. The tournament was nothing for him, but it was a big deal for Han Yin. Moreover, if she went to the meeting, she wouldn't buy anything. Their suite was very spacious. Mo gave Han Yin a few pointers and left to the meeting on his own. Ever since participating in that auction, Mo never underestimated again the wealth of the hidden sections. They even had the blue flower blue leaf grass, who could say that he wouldn't find something he needed there. The wild blue flower blue leaf grass was the most potent, but it wouldn't blossom for the 2nd generation if it was grown artificially. The one Mo bought was a real wild-grown one. Mo wanted to wait until it matured to concoct the foundation establishment pill with it. His cultivation had reached a bottleneck. Without outside help, it was very hard for him to break through in that deprived environment. The silver heartgrass was useful for chi gathering primary stage, but he was middle stage now. Its use was very limited. Plus, he only had one silver heartgrass left. The purple gear vine had some use, but it only budded. Although the chi-increasing pill had some use for him, it wasn't enough. If he used it all, he would reach the middle level of stage 4 at most, so he might as well use it to power up his min. This pill had the biggest effect on the first consumption. Later on, its effects become weaker. So, Yemo had some expectations for the hidden sects meeting. Yemo got some food and arrived to the meeting before it was going to start. Yemo went inside the palace, which was old and had incense smell everywhere. There were many statues of minor Buddhas, and in the back room, there was a large hall with a banner on the door that said Ancient Martial Arts Meeting. What Yemo was surprised about was that the meeting had just begun, but the hall was already filled with people. Yemo just walked to the door and a waitress approached him. She looked at Yemo's jade card and brought him into the hall. Yemo saw the girl was surprised, as though she felt Yemo was too young, but one couldn't tell from her expression. It was usually the sect leaders and powerful men who came. Other than the core disciples who had been brought by their elders to broaden their horizon, most people were above 40. At the same time Yemo came in, all the eyes were on him. Yemo was so young, but he could come to the meeting. Many people were pondering over his identity. Although almost no one had seen Yemo before, some still recognized him. They had seen Yemo's picture before. The small portion of people who recognized Yemo nodded to him. Although some people wanted to stand up and talk to Yemo, they were all from the hidden sects and needed to maintain their face. If they were too respectful to Yemo, other sects may look down on them. After all, Yemo was too young. More importantly, the big sects hadn't said anything yet. These people were different from Xiaochangtian and Yutao. They had seen him privately and still chose to offend Yemo. Yemo didn't mind these people. It was normal for them to be prideful. He would never use his power to abuse them, unless they messed with him. Master, it's this young man who taught the disciples of Yi Jian sect and the Xia family a lesson. They say his surname is Yi. I'm not sure if he's the legendary Yemo. Seeing Yemo walk in, a handsome young man in his 20s whispered to an old man next to him. The old man nodded. It must be true. His inner chi is collected. He probably is that Yemo. Although our sect isn't afraid of him, you shouldn't come into too much contact with someone with such power. Martial brother, I've also heard of Yemo. Some people even took his photo to recognize him, but this arrogant fool only dares to bully weaklings like the Yi Jian sect or the Xia family. If he dares challenge our Jiuming Academy, he will find that there's always someone stronger than him, a middle-aged man said in contempt. Martial brother Zhang, Yemo is different. He Lu sect is a good example. If he could kill their earth levels, it means that he's at least earth level. Reaching earth level at his age is already like being a genius amongst geniuses. We should try to not touch him, the old man frowned and said. This middle-aged man didn't dare to refute, but said quietly, Martial brother is right. Although the He Lu sect is said to be one of the 6 big sects, I don't think they deserve that title. They are quite inferior compared to the top 3, even I can kill them easily. The old man shook his head and didn't say anything. A middle-aged woman next to him said, Martial brother Zhang, just listen to our sect leader. Yes, martial sister. This time, Martial brother Zhang didn't rebuke. Yemo scanned and didn't find people from Serenity. It seemed that they hadn't come that time. Yemo's name didn't seem to be well received among the hidden sections. After he sat down, the seats next to him remained empty. It seemed like no one dared to sit next to him. Yemo smiled. He didn't mind it. Other than some relationships based on interests, he didn't have any friends in the hidden sects and didn't need them. Most of the hidden sects people looked down on outsiders. They felt they were better. Other than the 36 rivers, who had ranked quite low among the 6 big sects, the other 3 big sects obviously weren't friendly to Yemo. And due to this, other people didn't dare show their goodwill to Yemo. But not everyone cared about what the big sects thought. A short middle-aged man walked up to Yemo, sat down beside him and asked, Friend, are you Yemo? Did you really annihilate the He Lu sect? Yemo smiled. Indeed, I'm Yemo, but I didn't annihilate the He Lu sect. I just swatted a few flies that were buzzing in Beijing. Great. Brother Yi, you have a lot of courage. Let me introduce myself. I'm Gu Yonghe. I'm not here for the tournament. I'm here just for the meeting, the man said. Yi Mo looked at Gu Yonghe. He was Earth-level middle stage. He nodded and didn't say anything. In this moment, an old man stood up. He glanced at Gu Yonghe casually and said, "Friends, we're usually spread across the land and it's hard for us to have a chance to gather. Ancient martial arts are declining nowadays because the resources are scarce. It's hard to use these limited resources and get what everyone needs. On the occasion of this tournament, once every 5 years, we can gather together. I wish that everyone can get what they need from this meeting. As one of the founders, I'm responsible for the fairness of this meeting. If you don't respect the rules, don't blame me, Xiangming Wang." Then, the old man looked at Yi Mo specially, as though Yi Mo was the main rioter. Yi Mo sneered. He couldn't care less about that old man's words. As long as he didn't mess with him, it was fine. Even if the old man was Earth-level peak or even halfway to Great Heaven, Yi Mo didn't mind. We support Xiangqianbei from the Gourd Cave. If there's anything you need, just tell us. Someone immediately came out to support this old man. We support Xiangqianbei from the Gourd Cave. If there's anything you need, just tell us. Someone immediately came out to support this old man. Yes, with Xiangqianbei, Feng Qianbei, and Wang Qianbei here, who would dare defy the rules? Of course, we came here because of the 3 Qianbei. The auction at the temple last time was good, but it was too chaotic. Brother Liang is right. I went to that last auction. I heard that the people who bought the Tai sword and earth-level cultivation method were all killed. Oh, and the person who bought the Lu blue carrot died too. Seeing the discussion below, the old man called Xiang nodded in satisfaction and spoke. This meeting will be held by me, Brother Feng from the Jingming Academy, and by Brother Wang from the Nan Mountain. We hope everyone finds this trip worthwhile. Well then, I won't waste any more time. The meeting begins now. Those who need to trade, raise your jade card and say what you're trading and what you need. Then the old man sat down as he looked at Yi Mo once more, as though he could do something bad at any moment. Gu Yonghe whispered to Yi Mo and said, "Brother Yi, this long-bearded man is called Xiangming Wang and is the vice-sect leader of the Gourd Cave. He's half-step Great Heaven, very strong. The Gourd Cave is ranked first among the Big Six and is far from what the He Lu sect can compare with. It's said that he could annihilate the entire He Lu sect by himself. This old man might look amicable, but he's the most aggressive one, the type to kill in the slightest of conflicts." As though feeling Xiang Mingwang's eyes glance at him, Gu Yonghe ducked his head. He's that strong? Then wouldn't the sect leader of the Gourd Cave be even stronger? Yi Mo murmured subconsciously. Although he didn't know how many earth levels He Lu sect had precisely, this Xiang Mingwang could annihilate the He Lu sect by himself. Clearly, he exceeded Yi Mo's estimations. The He Lu sect was similar to Diansong in power. Although Yi Mo had practically annihilated Diansong, he almost lost his life under their 7-kill formation and was forced away by that monk, Wu Dao. If this Xiang Mingwang really was that capable, then wouldn't he be on par with him or even monk Wu Dao? Gu Yonghe nodded and said, "Of course, but it's said that the sect leader has been in solitary cultivation for more than 10 years trying to reach Great Heaven. We don't know, though, if he's still alive or not. So right now, Xiang Mingwang stands at the top of the Gourd Cave." Then how about Jingming Academy? Yi Mo asked subconsciously. He was thinking that if the sect leader of Jingming Academy was as strong as Xiang Mingwang, then he would be in trouble if they were to gang up on him. Gu Yonghe said in an even quieter voice, "Other than Diansong and He Lu who sealed their sects, the other 4 big sects all came. The strongest is Gourd Cave, and the second strongest Jingming Academy. The reason why Jingming Academy is ranked second isn't because they aren't as strong as the Gourd Cave. In terms of power, Jingming Academy should be stronger than Gourd Cave, but since they rarely fight, their fame isn't as great as the Gourd Caves." Yi Mo nodded. This Jingming Academy was no simple place indeed. Gu Yonghe continued, "The third strongest is the Wang family of the Nan Mountain. This time, their family leader, Wang Linchan, came too. It's said that he fought with Xiang Mingwang once. They supposedly fought for a whole day before he lost by half a move. They have their business in the outside world, but the true ancient martial arts disciples are not allowed to be involved in business, so the Wang family isn't all too famous in the outside world either. The fourth strongest would be Dian Song, with their sect leader, Bian Shihai, being said to be at the earth-level tertiary stage. At this moment, a very bulky and wild man brought out a wooden box and said, "Since no one is starting, I, Zheng Zhengxia, will kick of this meeting. This is a 300-year-old yellow essence, which pill makers can use to make the essence chi pill. I wish to trade it for a magical weapon or rare ores." Yimo was already touched by this. This place had good things indeed. Just by looking at this yellow essence, one could see intricate circles on it, meaning that it had to be a few hundred years old at least. Yellow essence younger than 100 years old was beneficial to health but useless to ancient martial artists. The essence chi pill, however, can recover inner chi speedily and also purify inner chi. The con of it is that it can improve power. As soon as Zheng Zhenxia said this, someone immediately said, "Sect leader Zheng, don't mention the essence chi pill. I've never heard anyone who can make the essence chi pill. I have a top-grade black jade here. If sect leader Zheng is willing, we can trade." Yimo shook his head. If it were extreme quality black jade, then it might have been barely worthy of this 300-year yellow essence, but top-level black jade was far inferior. Gu Yanghe said, "This Zhang Zhengxia is the sect leader of the 36 rivers. They are ranked 5th among these hidden sections. This sect leader Zhang is also at the earth-level tertiary stage, but he's a very heroic person." Yimo didn't know how this guy really was as a person, but he wasn't a villain at least. When he first came in, even though Zheng Zhengxia knew he was Yimo, he didn't hate him because he'd killed He Lu sect's members. He had nodded at him from afar. Zheng Zhengxia knew that top-quality black jade was not equal to his yellow essence, and he shook his head for the trade. Everyone knew that the man was right about the essence chi pill, so no one wanted to trade for Zheng Zhengxia's yellow essence anymore. Seeing this, Zheng Zhengxia closed his wooden box in disappointment. Just as Zheng Zhengxia was about to put away his box, Yimo suddenly said, "I'll take this yellow essence for this dagger. Brother Zhang, would this please you?" Then, Yimo threw out a dagger he had made. It was as if someone was carrying it in the air as it floated in front of Zheng Zhengxia. The gathering turned silent for a few seconds. The way Yimo threw the sword alone was something only a few at the scene could accomplish. Manipulating an object with inner chi? Nothing to show off about. I can do that better. That martial brother Zhang from Jiuming Academy commented when he saw people all around admire Yimo's power. Feng Wu smiled. Martial brother Zhang. This wasn't inner chi telekinesis. This was just a casual throw, but the power was controlled very accurately. Even a normal person can do that if they control their power well. Hearing this, everyone came to a sudden enlightenment. It seems I overestimated the guy, Zhang Chao sneered. Yimo scanned the people and also sneered. What he had done was something they could never learn. This was telekinesis by spirit sense. It wasn't just a casual throw. Yimo had used this method to see if people would be capable of realizing it, and now, it seemed that he had been worrying too much. Zheng Zhengxia picked up the dagger. As soon as he did, it made a crisp sound that scared him. He immediately started to scrutinize the dagger. Brother Zhang should try inserting your inner chi into it. Yimo smiled and said. Zheng Zhengxia did as advised subconsciously, and an even crisper sound appeared. The dagger began to glow with a white shine. Great dagger! Zheng Zhengxia yelled in joy. This is a magical artifact? Everyone present started to discuss. The so-called magic artifacts sold to the outside world just carried that name, but they weren't considered true magic artifacts. This one, however, was undoubtedly a real magic artifact. They had seen magic artifacts before, but they were usually just defensive ones. Offensive magic artifacts were really rare. They had seen magic artifacts before, but they were usually just defensive ones. Offensive magic artifacts were really rare. The dagger Yimo had taken out seemed to be an offensive magic artifact. Everyone at the scene was shocked. Yimo saw this and laughed to himself. It wasn't a magic artifact, It wasn't even a low-level magic artifact. It was just a dagger that he had made sharper with 2 formations inscribed on it. A magic artifact wasn't so easily made. His flying sword was only barely a top-level magic artifact, even after using many precious materials. This was only because he had gotten a star jade. If he hadn't, it would have only been a good-level magic artifact. But Yemo knew these people had no notion of low-level, middle-level, or top-level magic artifacts. The whip Xian Daoist used against him was also an offensive magic artifact. But in the cultivation realm, it was only a higher-level weapon. Yemo wasn't going to explain this to them. After Zheng Zhengxia inserted his inner qi, he pulled out the whip around his waist and used the dagger to hack it lightly. Crank, the whip he had meticulously made was broken. This is a real magic artifact. It's a good dagger. It really is a great dagger. Zheng Zhengxia caressed the dagger. He was lacking a good weapon. With it, his battle power could increase more than 1 level. At that moment, Zheng Zhengxia took out the yellow essence and said to Yemo, "I'm very happy with this sword, but the yellow essence is worth far less than your dagger." Yemo looked at Zheng Zhengxia with surprise. He understood the hidden sex people far too well. It was just how power ruled everything in the cultivation realm. He hadn't expected Zheng Zhengxia to say that. If it had been someone else, he would have accepted the deal without a doubt. Zheng Zhengxia's words gave Yemo a great impression. He was a really truthful man. Thinking about this, he said, "This dagger is nothing to me. I have a few more. Brother Zheng, please give me your yellow essence." Okay. You have my respect, Brother Yi. Haha. Then, Zheng Zhengxia threw his yellow essence to Yemo and started to play with his dagger. Yemo took the yellow essence. He looked at Zheng Zhengxia and said, "Brother Zheng is an upright man. Yemo approves you greatly. If you have time, you can come to my place later on to have a chat. I live at the top of Xie Hotel." Yemo could tell that Zheng Zhengxia had extremely severe internal injuries. If it was left untreated, he would only have a few years left. If Zheng Zhengxia was willing to go to his place tonight, then Yemo wouldn't mind helping him treat it. "Okay, I'll come bother you after this, Brother Yi." Haha. Zheng Zhengxia sat down. After this, everyone who wanted to trade something looked at Yemo, wanting to exchange a dagger with him, but Yemo didn't want what they had. They were average pills or earth-level cultivation methods. As the meeting progressed, most people gave up on Yemo taking out another dagger. At some point, Xiang Mingwang of Gourd Cave took out a jade bottle and said, "I have an earth spirit pill here. It can let anyone below Great Heaven go 1 step further." Everyone started talking about it. That earth spirit pill was worth more than Yemo's dagger. Xiang Mingwang didn't mind the people's eyes and just looked at Yemo. "Yemo, if you still have another dagger like that, I don't mind trading this with you." Yemo's spirit sense had already scanned the pill. It was a real pill indeed. Yemo thought about how someone there could make actual real pills. Did this person have spirit sense too? But he immediately remembered the Shan cauldron. If he could get it, it meant other people had used it before to make pills. Thinking about this, Yemo sneered. Although Yemo was interested in this pill and wanted to see what it was like, Yemo didn't have a good impression of Xiang Mingwang. Furthermore, this pill was at most similar to his qi-increasing pill or even inferior. No one expected that Yemo would just scan the pill and say, "Not interested." Xiang Mingwang was angry. He hadn't expected that Yemo would say he wasn't interested in something that precious. Was the pill not worth 100 times more than that yellow essence? Xiang Mingwang's expression sunk and he didn't say anything, but everyone near him could feel his killing intent. Yemo looked down on him. The old man had just said that the meeting had to be fair, but now, just because he didn't want to trade with him, he had killing intent. What a shameless old fart indeed. He had no right to mess with Yemo. Many people could feel the killing intent, but to them the earlier Yemo was killed, the better. Gu Yanghe had just gotten a fist art and was very happy. Upon hearing Xiang Mingwang's words, he sighed and said to Yemo, "Brother Yi, you really shouldn't have pissed Xiang Mingwang off. He's very vengeful and strong. It could be said that no one other than Wu Feng is a match for him." Yemo smiled. "I'm worried he won't come for me." Gu Yanghe sighed and shook his head, thinking that young people were too out of their mind. He didn't realize that Yimo was a match for Xiang Mingwang. Yimo was only in his 20s, but he could be as strong as Xiang Mingwang. But he couldn't say that. He just met Yimo and had a good impression of him because he had feud with the Helu sect. Yimo killed them. Just when Xiang Mingwang was going to put away the Earth Spirit Pill, someone said uncertainly, Xiang Qinbei, Wanbei is Qi Xiang from Wu Yi. I have a spirit sensing stone. If dashed before Qi Xiang could finish, Xiang Mingwang waved his hand and said, that thing has no use for me. Then, he put away the Earth Spirit Pill. Hearing this, Yimo thought it was space abyssal rock, the material to make storage devices. I'll take the rock. Yimo's words caught everyone's attention again. He knew that the spirit sensing stone was used in the past by ancient martial artists in order to improve their strength by sensing the power inside, but that only worked for those below Earth level. If it had just that function, then it would indeed be more worthless than the Earth Spirit Pill. He knew that the spirit sensing stone was used in the past by ancient martial artists in order to improve their strength by sensing the power inside, but that only worked for those below Earth level. If it had just that function, then it would indeed be more worthless than the Earth Spirit Pill. What they didn't know, however, was that due to the real use of the spirit sensing stone, it was worth countless times more than that Earth Spirit Pill. Qi Xiang was surprised greatly. It's not like he needed the dagger desperately, but he knew it was worth much more than his spirit sensing stone. Even if he didn't need it, he could use it to trade for the Earth Spirit Pill. Everyone at the scene was dazed and immediately realized that Yimo was trying to suck up to Xiang Mingwang indirectly. Almost everyone was sure that Qi Xiang would use the dagger to trade for the Earth Spirit Stone. Gu Yanghe saw this and felt relieved yet a little disappointed at the same time. Xiang Mingwang heard Yimo's words but sneered. It was too late now. As soon as he got the dagger, he would teach this young man a lesson. Did he think the hidden sects were so easy to mess with? Here you go. Qi Xiang was afraid that Yimo would regret his decision and quickly gave his spirit-sensing stone to Yimo. Yimo shook his head. Why was there such a huge difference between people? Zheng Zhengxia was worried about his yellow essence not being worth Yimo's dagger. But this Qi Xiang knew that his thing was worth far less than Yimo's dagger, yet he wanted to trade as fast as possible. Yimo put away the space abyssal rock, but didn't give out that offensive magic artifact. He took out a porcelain bottle instead, saying, "This is a Qi-increasing pill. It has the undoubtable capability of letting you reach Earth-level middle stage without any hidden side effects." Qi Xiang accepted the bottle absent-mindedly. He had been planning on using the dagger to get the Earth Spirit Pill from Xiang Mingwang, but Yimo was giving him a pill now. This? Qi Xiang looked at Yimo worriedly. He had never heard of this Qi-increasing pill. What if he was cheated? Slap! Xiang Mingwang slapped the table as he suddenly stood up. Yimo, this auction is about fairness. You took someone's thing but gave out a useless pill in exchange. Do you think I won't do anything to you? Qi Xiang looked at Yimo and Xiang Mingwang blankly. If he knew things would turn out like this, he wouldn't even take out the stone. He could mess with neither Yimo nor Xiang Mingwang. If it were just Yimo, he would accept the situation and just give the stone to Yimo. But he knew that if he did so now, it would mean starting a conflict with Xiang Mingwang. Xiang Mingwang was looking for a chance to attack Yimo, and if he did that, Xiang Mingwang would lose the opportunity to. Everyone at the scene became excited. Xiang Mingwang was going against Yimo. There was a drama to watch now. Although many people wanted to support Xiang Mingwang had called out Yimo personally, so if they supported Xiang Mingwang openly, it would mean going against Yimo. If they pissed off Yimo, and he went on a carnage at their sect, it would be the end for them. Xia Changtian and Yu Tao both lowered their heads. They didn't dare show that they knew Yimo and just wanted Xiang Mingwang to kill Yimo, but they didn't dare show that either. Xiang Mingwang, with what did you see that I gave this person something useless? You haven't even looked at my pill, yet you know it's useless? Looks like you're either an immortal or a fool. Yimo uttered in contempt. As soon as Yimo said this, everyone was shocked. Who was Xiang Mingwang? Gourd Cave's vice-sect leader, second most famous only to monk Wu Dao. Even if someone did want to disagree with him, they would still have to respectfully call him sect leader Xiang. But this Yimo just straight away said his name and called him an idiot. Gu Yonghe applauded Yimo's courage in his mind, but couldn't stand up to help Yimo very good. I've seen cocky people, but I've never seen someone as cocky as you. I want to witness for myself the might of the man who killed 6 Earth-level members from Helu's sect. I hope your power is as strong as your tongue. Xiang Mingwang could no longer hold his anger, and he pulled out his long sword. Feng Wu, who was sitting next to Xiang Mingwang, stood up and reminded him, Brother Xiang, calm down. You can fight him after things are clear. This is a trade gathering after all. It wouldn't be good if the chaos got too big. Even if you're going to fight, you can't fight here out of respect to King Qingguang. We're still in his palace in the end. What's there to clarify? Is a pill that makes one unconditionally reach one step higher at the Earth level something he can take out? Everyone knows how precious the Earth Spirit pill is already. With his preposterous past, it's certain that he's lying, Xiang Mingwang said without hesitation, but he didn't go up to attack yet. Feng Wu nodded, showing his agreement to Xiang Mingwang's words, but he looked at Yimo and said, Yimo, you say that your qi increasing pill can raise the user of it one stage even at the Earth level, but no one can tell if it's real or fake. One has to wait for half a month even after eating the Earth Spirit pill. Besides, everyone here knows that it's hard to concoct pills nowadays. So regardless of whether your qi increasing pill is real or fake, I suggest that you return the Spirit Sensing Stone to Sect Leader Qi and give one of those daggers you mentioned before to Sect Leader Qi. Yi Mo nodded. Although this Feng Wu was favoring Xiang Mingwang a little bit, he was still rather fair. Yi Mo smiled and said, My qi increasing pill isn't something the likes of an Earth Spirit pill can compare with. There's still an hour or two before the end of the gathering. Hey you, if you eat my pill now and it shows no effect within the hour, I will return your stone to you and give you a dagger as well. Regardless of whether my pill is fake or not, it should have nothing to do with others. Yimo's words made the entire scene be overcome by silence. Did his pill really have such absurd effects? If it did, why hadn't anyone heard of it? Yimo's words sounded so confident, and with everyone being able to see the results 1 hour later, would he still tell any lies? I think Brother Qi should give it a try first. After all, no one really knows whether the pill is real or fake, Zhang Zhengxia commented at this moment. Yimo sighed. This Zhang Zhengxia was an upright man indeed. He was still willing to help Yimo talk at this moment, clearly not minding Xiang Mingwang's revenge. Qi Xiang was just the leader of a small sect, so seeing that this thing was getting bigger and bigger, he was getting worried. As he heard Yimo promise that the results would show in 1 hour, he ate it without further thought. He wanted this thing to end as early as possible. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.